Warm greetings from the high 10. It's Everyday Shenanigans, and thanks for joining me. It's a beautiful day in East Tennessee. God is good. Unfortunately, the news is not good pertaining to Cal City boys. As most of you know who are following the content pertaining to the children, they have not been found. Their adoptive parents, Trezell and Jacqueline West, were arrested Tuesday. They are now in jail, and they attended court this morning and pled not guilty to the said charges against them in court. And I also noticed in the said photographs that each had a different attorney. I will bring you that said information. Before that, I'm going to bring you two updated stories, and then I will go into the commentary pertaining to this case pertaining to the boys and the West. It will be a bit lengthy because I have a lot of audio to play and articles to read you, so you will be abreast on the situation and know what exactly is going on. I will also read you the indictment so you will understand what they are being accused of. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. My first story is going to be about the Ukraine. There was a assassination plot against the Ukrainian president, Mr. Zelensky. It says a recent alleged assassination plot against Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was foiled over the weekend, and the Chechen servicemen sent from Russia were destroyed, a Ukrainian security leader said on Tuesday. Okay, let's see. It says, we are well aware of the special operation that was to take place directly by the Kadyrovites to eliminate our president, and I can say that we have received information from the FSB and today do not want to take part in this bloody war, Danilov said. And thanks to this, the Kadyrov elite group was destroyed, which came to eliminate our president. That's Washington Post if you need to further get any information on that, because I'm trying to be brief in my updates pertaining to any other storyline pertaining to this case. Thank you all so much for joining. All right. Zelensky. You may not know the Queen, but the Queen's got something to say to you. You don't have any business saying that the Americans came too late. This isn't our war. We just left Iraq, Afghanistan, not even a year. Matter of fact, this is the month, I believe, the troops were leaving from over there, the month of March 2021. So to make this comment that we came too late, no, we didn't come too late because we weren't supposed to be fighting anybody. It's not our war. It's not our war to fight Russia. It's not our war to be fighting anybody else because we've already been fighting for 20-something years. Fighting with the Taliban and fighting with somebody else before the Taliban. It's always been somebody else. So it wasn't our war in the first place. But I'm going to read you this commentary and then I'm going to get on with the rest of my story. Zelensky says Ukraine support from U.S. other countries came too late. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky complained Thursday that the U.S. and other countries waited too long to respond to Russia's invasions of his country, calling sanctions a good start, but saying only no-fly zone would stop the slaughter. The whole world started making decisions too late, Zelensky said in a televised address. I want to thank the countries that are helpful with weapons. We are thankful, but it's too late. Zelensky applauded Western nations for moving to punish Russia by hauling its economy, saying, strong sanctions right now. I think that was a good start. Thank God we have those sanctions, he said. But Zelensky said he's pleaded with President Biden and European leaders to impose a no-fly zone over Ukraine to stop what he called Russia's constant bombing of non-militarized zones. I said, if you cannot shut the sky now, then give us a timeline. When will you do it? He said. If you can't provide a timeline now, tell us how many people have to die, how many limbs have to fly off of people's bodies. So you hear us, how many people will count, and we'll wait until that moment when you feel comfortable. Zelensky also warned that Russian President Vladimir Putin would wage an even wider war if Ukraine does not stop all of this, if the world does not unite around the principles of Ukraine. That's by the New York Post. Let me say this. This is just crazy to me because we can't order anything if we're not involved directly, Mr. Zelensky. We're not involved. Ukraine is not a part of NATO, which has been said many times as of late. So therefore, the U.S. could not come in to do anything. That is what's been said. And once again, it's still not our war. We're not at war with Russia. Knock on wood. You have too many other countries that you're allied with, that should have no problem helping you all out. Because my thing is, where does it stop? Issue a no-fly zone. Then what? Next you'll be saying you want us to fly over and shoot down any Russian aircrafts, because that's the whole point. Let's say America issued no-fly zone, and then Putin started sending aircrafts in the air. Then that means somebody would have to shoot the aircrafts down, sir. So then that means you would be expecting America and other allies to shoot the aircrafts down. So then that means we will be at war with Russia over your country. That's pretty bold to even say that, because frankly, America didn't have to send the troops over to the borders to try to keep peace, which I had already said. I don't know how that will work if Ukrainians decide to, if Russia decides to push troops further out where peacekeeping troops would be. And who's just going to stand there if somebody starts shooting at them? See, your problem is you didn't take Putin seriously about the war. You were warned that they were coming, and you took no action of your own country. And now you want to blame America 2 weeks in for not exacting a no-fly zone. Okay. Enough of that. That's my commentary on that. Very bold and ill statement, because we cannot keep fighting other people's battles. I think everybody knows that. There's nothing wrong with aiding these people with food, care, weapons if possible. But in the end, once you start getting involved, then you're involved. Zelensky, you're out of line. I'm just going to say that. You're way out of line. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and get started pertaining to this information. KGET.com is the source pertaining to Jacqueline and Trezell West pleading not guilty in court. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. KGET is the source. 15 months after they stood in front of their California home, begging for help finding their two young adopted sons, Trezell and Jacqueline West on Thursday pleaded not guilty to murder in the boys' deaths. The West entered not guilty pleas to 2 counts of second-degree murder, 2 counts of willful cruelty to a child, and falsely reporting an emergency. They were arrested Tuesday after being indicted by a grand jury. Judge Chad Louie ordered them held without bail and scheduled trial for May 23rd. But given that defense counsel has only just been assigned, that date will likely be postponed. Now, inside of this article, you will see pictures of Jacqueline on one side of the room with her attorney, which is a female, Hispanic, white, whatever. And the other side looks like a Caucasian woman with Trezell West. They're sitting on opposite sides of the benches with 2 different women as representation. I will read you the headlines. Defendants Trezell and Jacqueline appeared with defense attorneys Thursday. Trezell West stands next to defense attorney Mai Shawa. She told the court attorney Tim Hennessy will represent. So obviously this woman, Miss Mai, was standing in for a Mr. Tim Hennessy, who will be the attorney representing Trezell West. Jacqueline West stands next to her attorney, Alexia Torres Stallings. Very interesting. So in this photograph, if you need verification, KGET is the source. Both defendants are standing in the courtroom, feet away, with different representations. I'll get to that when I give my commentary. Prosecutors have said the boys, Orrin 4 and Orson 3, were killed 3 months before they were reported missing. Their bodies have not been found. Trezell West, 35, told authorities the boys were playing outside while he gathered firewood December 21st, 2020. He said he briefly went inside, and when he came back out, the boys had vanished. Jacqueline West, 32, backed up his version of events when speaking with the media. In our third photograph in this article, you also see prosecutor Eric Smith has requested that all offense reports in the case be sealed and a gag order issued. And this will be for all the witnesses to not speak publicly about the case. So please, that means you can't go to YouTube. Can't go to the news. Prosecutors, however, said information received a week later. Listen to this carefully. Information received a week later led to the involvement of the Bakersfield Police Department, which eventually took over the investigation from California City Police. Dozens of searches were conducted, as well as digging at sites in Bakersfield and California City. The West previously lived at Casa Loma Apartments in Bakersfield. If convicted, the West faced 30 years to life on the murder charges. Pivotal information. 1 week after they make a 911 call about the children missing, the case is turned over to Bakersfield Police Department. Please keep that in your memory, because that is going to be the main conversation of this live this afternoon. Thank you for joining me. I will now read you the indictments against Jacqueline and Trezell West. This is courtesy of Brian Wang, Denver 7 News. Okay, here's the full indictment alleging Trezell, Jacqueline West murdered their 2 adoptive children, Orson and Orrin West, around September 2020. Orson was 3, Orrin was 4. The indictment reads as follows. See if I can read the fine print. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. At the top of the page, it reads as follows. Cynthia J. Zimmer, District Attorney, County of Kern. Eric L. Smith, Bryant S. Stepp, Deputy District Attorney, 1215 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Their zip code and their phone number. Attorneys for plaintiff. Superior Court of California, County of Kern, Metropolitan Division. The people of the state of California versus Trezell West. He's the defendant. The state is the plaintiff. Count 1. Penal Code Section 187, murder. On or about September 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2020, Trezell West and Jacqueline West did with malice aforethought, murder Orrin West, a human being, in violation of Penal Code Section 187, second-degree murder, a felony. It is further alleged that the above offense is a serious felony within the meaning of Penal Code Section 192(7)(c)(1). Circumstance aggravation. It is further alleged that the defendant, Trezell West and Jacqueline West, committed a crime that involved great violence, threat of great bodily harm, or other acts disclosing a high degree of cruelty, viciousness, or callousness with the meaning of California Rules of Court 4.421A1. Circumstance and aggravation. It is further that the victim, Orrin West, was particularly vulnerable within the meaning of California Rules of Court 4421A3. Circumstance and aggravation. It is further alleged that the defendant, Trezell West and Jacqueline West, induced others to participate in the commission of the crime or occupied a position of leadership or dominance of other participants in its commission within the meaning of California Rules Court 4.421A4. Circumstance in aggravation. It is further alleged that the defendant, Trezell West and Jacqueline West, took advantage of a position of trust or confidence to commit the offense within the meaning of the California Rules of Court 4.421A11. Oh, Lord, help me, Jesus. All the counts are the same. Reads as follows also for Jacqueline West. Count 2, Penal Code Section 187, murder. On about September 1st, 2020 through September 30th, Trezell West and Jacqueline West did with malice aforethought murder Orson West, a human being, in violation of Penal Code Section 187, second-degree murder, a felony. It is further alleged that the above offense is a serious felony within the meaning of Penal Code Section 192.72, C1. It's also saying the same with the circumstance aggravation. All the circumstance aggravations is 1, 2, 3, 4 counts underneath the murder charge. They are the same as against Trezell West. They are the same against Jacqueline West and both boys. These are the counts. Murder, second-degree murder, involving great violence, great bodily harm, or other acts disclosing a high degree of cruelty, viciousness, callousness. They're both facing the same identical charges. If you need verification, please log over to Brian Wang's Facebook page. All the said charges are in that format. Thank you so much for joining me. If you'd like to donate to the channel, $BigAngie129 Cash App. All super chats are welcome during the live. This was uploaded 1 day ago. Brian Wang is the source. An investigation reveals that Tyler brothers Orson and Orrin West were deceased 3 months before their adopted parents, Trezell and Jacqueline West, reported them missing in California City in December 2020, according to Kern County District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer. The boys' bodies have not been found, which does not preclude prosecutors from pursuing murder charges, according to Zimmer, who said KCDA has successfully prosecuted no body homicides before. Zimmer was unable to disclose how the boys were killed, but said circumstantial and direct evidence leads them to believe that the adopted parents were taken into custody around 7 p.m. in Western Kern County Tuesday. Both are being charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder, 2 counts of willful cruelty to a child, and 1 count of making a false report of emergency. And that is a misdemeanor, the false report, for those who do not know. If found guilty of these charges, the adopted parents could face 30 years to life in prison. The case was presented to a grand jury over the course of 3 months. They returned a true bill, resulting in an indictment charging the adopted parents with the crimes listed above. The DA sent me a copy of the indictment, which alleges that the brothers were killed between September 1st and September 30th, 2020. This is around the time the adopted parents moved from Bakersfield to California City. The indictment alleges that the adopted parents induced others to participate in the commission of the crime or occupied a position of leadership or dominance of other participants in this commission. Zimmer is unable to comment on whether others have been detained or arrested in this case. The indictment further alleges that planning was involved in Orson's murder, stating that the manner the crime was carried out indicates planning, sophistication, or professionalism. And Brian Wang lets you know that, hey guys, I'm continuing to update this post with information I'm getting. Brian Wang, Denver 7, is the source of that said information. I've brought you information pertaining to the Ukraine updates. Jacqueline and Trezell West have pled not guilty in court today in California. I've read you the said charges, and I've also brought you the information repeating what I've already read by Brian Wang News 7. He has a Facebook page. If you'd like to keep up with this case, he will be reporting on this case and bringing forth information pertaining to the case of Jacqueline and Trezell West, accused of second-degree murder and other said charges against their 2 adoptive sons who have not been found. And know that in court, they stood feet away with separate attorneys. Now I will play you audio pertaining to what's going on out there in California to the best of my ability. Thank you all so much for joining me. Yes, this is a horrific case. This is just absolutely horrific. There's no meaning behind what we're talking about right now. There was no reason to kill those kids. I think the baffling part is that Lord have mercy. My other update I meant to bring you was First Coast. Is Jacksonville woman pleads guilty to murder and death of 5-year-old daughter. And I think most of you know who that is. Let me, I meant to recap that. I'm so sorry. I'm doing too much up here. So much to remember. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Okay. So I can find this article with her in here. I don't know where it is. I had it just now. Hold on one second, you guys. Okay, here it is. This is by ABC News. A Florida woman whose 5-year-old daughter was found dead in Alabama pleaded guilty to second-degree murder Thursday. Brianna Williams, 29, entered the plea at a pretrial hearing in Duval County Circuit Court. According to court records, she faces up to life in prison at a May 11th sentencing hearing. Williams, who had been a petty officer at Naval Air Station Jacksonville, first reported Taylor Rose Williams missing in November 2019, but the mother stopped cooperating with detectives after being questioned about inconsistencies in her story, investigators said. I'm not going to go into all of that, but that's an update. Brianna Williams, 29, has entered a plea in court for second-degree murder of her child. Lord have mercy. She has pled guilty. So she's not like these two nimwits here. She knows the evidence is overwhelming against her. I brought you information pertaining to that case a year or so ago. Because that case happened right after Camille's case and Anaya Blanchard's. The child went missing. I believe that was 19. She has pled guilty. Very sick situation there as well, because this was high abuse and neglect of a child, leaving her in the closet to fend for herself while the mother went to work. She did not take the child to daycare. The naval base offered daycare. She stopped taking the child to daycare, and she left the child to soil on herself in the closet all day long, sipping out of a can through a straw. Very heinous. And I'm glad she pled guilty. That way, the courts can keep it moving. Okay, now on to my story pertaining to Cal City. Sorry about that, but I forgot to bring you all that information. Please go to my community board. I have an update pertaining to her in court. It's 12 minutes long, and I can see in court she's cut all her hair off. Yeah, she's a nut. She is a serious nut. Jesus Christ.
Competency-based model with WGU.
Vigil was held this evening in downtown Bakersfield in remembrance of Orrin and Orson West. The community, along with members of the boy's biological family, attended the vigil organized by the group The Next Steps. District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer was also on hand. Those in attendance say while they're angry and heartbroken over the latest developments, they are hopeful justice will be served for Orrin and Orson.
All right. That's my third source pertaining to the children. KGET News is this source for this information. This was a vigil held for the children. Okay, I've got a lot to bring you, so just bear with me. I'm going to bring you information pertaining to the neighbors. I'm going to play all of that. I'm also going to play you information from Court TV so you can stay abreast of everything that's transpiring pertaining to the case. I want to make sure I don't leave anything out. The next source is going to be a new question in the case of missing Orrin and Orson West. Where are the bodies? KGET is the source. Thank you for joining me.
In Jacqueline West.
We have 2 small boys that we believe are no longer here that are dead. It's the murder of 2 innocent children.
For the murder of Orrin and Orson West.
And there will not be a resolution until these boys are brought home.
There will be justice for Orrin and Orson. A good Wednesday evening to you, and thanks for being with us here at 5 o'clock. I'm Tammy Melchak.
And I'm Jim Scott. Thanks for stopping in this hour. New developments tonight in a story we broke last night on 17 News at 5. The arrests of the adoptive parents of Orrin and Orson West. The 2 little boys first reported missing from their home in California City back on December 21st of 2020. Many of the missing pieces in this case started to fall in place over the last 24 hours, and today, Kern County District Attorney revealed new details in the murder indictment handed down yesterday, along with the news we had all feared would be coming.
17's Christian Galeno joins us live outside the Kern County DA's office with the shocking revelations. Christian?
Jim and Tammy, well, the fact that knowing that little Orrin and Orson West are actually dead is tugging at the heartstrings of many in the community. And it's that exact same community that prayed and searched for months for the two missing brothers. Tonight, they're directing their anger towards adopted parents, Jacqueline and Trezell West. 14 months ago, Jacqueline and Trezell West stood in front of their California City home and pleaded with the community to help search for their missing adopted boys.
And that's all I want is to find a baby. I hear a bunch of corners. I went down the street. I turned my light on. I searched. I called their names.
Comfort hearts now in the name of Jesus. For more than a year, the community prayed the boys would return home. They searched and raised reward money. Little did they know authorities had already uncovered a huge piece of the case.
The investigation has revealed that Orrin and Orson West are deceased. The investigation has also revealed that they died 3 months before their adoptive parents reported them missing.
This is not the outcome that we and so many had hoped and prayed for over the last year. This is not a resolution in this case. And there will not be a resolution completely in this case until these boys are brought home.
In the past 24 hours, several charges were filed and both parents were arrested. Hours before that arrest, Trezell West was tracked down by 17 News at a post office in Edison. Witnesses report seeing him take off in an RV that was found Tuesday evening about 17 miles west of Bakersfield. That is where the arrest took place. For more than a year, worried people all over the country have asked, where are the boys? Now, a different question.
The question is now, where are the boys' bodies? We want to be able to bring them home and give them a proper burial.
Have the bodies of Orrin and Orson been found? And the answer to that is no.
Many more questions still remain.
Yes.
Are these the only arrests that are going to be taking place in this case? Is there plans to bring in anybody else or to arrest anybody else involved in this?
If I had those plans, I probably wouldn't tell you, but I can't tell you anyway. It's a good question. I don't mean to be trite, but I'm not going to comment on that.
It's painful for the family. These are kids that didn't even have a chance in this world. So I'm just,
The little to no words that the biological family are left with are sending a strong message to Jacqueline and Trezell.
Do the right thing. If y'all couldn't do the right thing before, do the right thing now and tell us where they are.
Now, that news does come with much heartbreak for the biological family, and they've informed us within the last hour that they've decided to organize a last-minute candlelight vigil tonight at 6 o'clock at the Liberty Bell in downtown Bakersfield. We will be there bringing you live coverage as well during our 6 o'clock hour, so make sure you tune in as well. For now, reporting live in downtown Bakersfield, Christian Galeno, 17 News.
All right, everybody. That is my other source pertaining to the vigil of the children. I'm not going to bring you more information. That's KGET pertaining to a new question in the case of missing Orrin and Orson West. Where are the bodies? I haven't the slightest idea. I'm about as befuddled that you can get. Let's talk about the neighbors in Cal City. I have audio to play. If you need verification, it's on my community board via YouTube. What do the neighbors think now? What did the neighbors notice back then? Those short months from September to December 2020. Very scary. Every time I look at those pictures, I get just chills because I don't care for all that dirt. As you see, it's very barren out there where they lived. And a lot of people live in those areas. They like it. That is to their choosing. But it's scary to me. No flower beds, no trees. I live here in East Tennessee. We're filled with trees, grass. I don't know anything else but that. So it's hard just looking at what I call sand all damn day. And I got the most eerie feeling last year when I was watching other people's content, going out there, banging on people's doors, trying to get information about the boys, just looking at the land itself was very scary to me. Just not seeing anything, like I said, of nature, such as trees in full bloom, flower beds, grass. And the thought of thinking that those children could have been buried out there somewhere, I don't know where they are, where they're buried. But the location of where they allegedly were supposed to be living is spooky to me. Just spooky to me. You will see that when you open up these videos in the YouTube queue. Thanks for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. #23 ABC News is the source. Neighbors react to adoptive parents' arrest. This was uploaded 16 hours ago. Thank you for joining me.
West. Law enforcement believes they now know what happened to the missing West boys and who's responsible. Kern County District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer confirming that there's sufficient circumstantial and direct evidence to believe that Orrin and Orson West were dead 3 months before their adoptive parents, Jacqueline and Trezell West, reported them missing in December 2020. The couple is now booked in jail and charged for 2 counts of second-degree murder, child cruelty, 2 counts of willful cruelty to a child, and a false report of emergency. 23 ABC's Kristen Vartan has more from California City.
I guess I was shocked that there was finally a conclusion, but I didn't really feel like there was a definitive answer.
More than a year later, some questions are finally being answered about the missing toddler brothers Orrin and Orson West. For Paula Thompson, it did not come as a big surprise to her that the people arrested were the adoptive parents Trezell and Jacqueline West.
Even my parents say they, in that whatever 6 months they were supposed to be renting that house, they never once saw anybody. And their kitchen window like faces, you know, the back of that house and everything. They're like at the back of the house several times a day. And they never saw anything or any lights on at night or anything.
Paula Thompson's dad and stepmom live right behind this wooden fence. They say they could see right into Jacqueline and Trezell West's old California City home, where the boys were first reported missing. But they say they never saw Orrin or Orson West or any kids here for that matter.
But I did always think that that sounded really, really fishy. And even watching the interviews, like when it first happened and everything, like the body language and just, I don't know, they didn't seem emotional at all. They didn't seem distraught.
But neighbor Jorge Cualapana saw something during his daytime walk weeks before the boys were reported missing.
I remember seeing the van they have, I believe they have a white van, that they have backed it up against the door, the front door, completely, like trying to seal the scene so that nobody could see who was getting out, going in the house.
Cualapana says he's seen kids by the house before, but never the missing West boys. Cualapana adding that the news that the Wests are being charged with Orrin and Orson's murder came as no surprise to him or other neighbors.
I mean, how 2 kids can disappear in an hour and 15 minutes? The guy says he came out and started combing the streets for looking for the kids after 40 minutes when he realized that they were not there. I mean, 40 minutes is nothing for a couple of kids. They should be hanging around there.
In California City, Kristen Vartan, 23 ABC News, connecting you.
All right, everybody. That's one video pertaining to neighbors. ABC 23 is the source. I will bring you more commentary pertaining to other neighbors. Neighbors react to Orrin and Orson West's adoptive parents' alleged murder charges. KGET is the source for this news. Thank you so much for joining me.
Right, Christian, thank you. Now, as news of the arrest spread across Kern County today, reaction was swift in California City, just doors away from the West family home. 17's Marco Torres went to the neighborhood to speak with neighbors about this tragedy.
California City is one step closer to getting closure on the alleged murder of Orson and Orrin West. I spent the day talking with neighbors of the adopted parents, now accused of killing the boys. In less than 24 hours, word spread across the county of the indictment accusing Orrin and Orson West's adopted parents of murder. The news reaching neighbors from the home the boys supposedly lived at in California City. District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer said the boys were murdered 3 months before they were reported missing. That would mean that they may have died before the Wests moved to California City. That doesn't surprise some neighbors, though.
I'm hurt. The children been dead way before they was, pronounced missing. That truly is sad, bro. That's sad. And then people get what they deserve. All day riding hell. They deserve that.
The next-door neighbors said Trezell and Jacqueline kept to themselves. Now all the neighbors say the couple acted secretively. One neighbor who regularly walks in the neighborhood for exercise says the Wests only ever went out at night. The neighbor also says the Wests parked their large white RV in front of their garage, so it was difficult to see people coming and going from the house.
That was a tragedy for all of us. For all of us. Even that most people here, they never see the kids. They didn't know the kids.
All the neighbors I spoke with say they've never actually seen the boys. Some of them even saying that they think the boys have never even made it into the city. Now, as records become more public, we'll be sure to update you on our website at kget.com. In California City, Marco Torres, 17 News.
All right, that's KGET 17 News. So both KGET and ABC 23 spoke to this same neighbor, this elderly gentleman, and he's basically saying that he noticed the van parked up to the door and to the garage as to conceal people coming in and out of the house. I also listened to information that Trezell was seen walking in and around the back of the house without said children. Now, one lady says that they did see children, but perhaps not the missing boys. So that's the ultimate question. Did Orrin and Orson ever make it to Cal City? The DA is saying that the children were murdered months beforehand, but there's talks that Trezell was at the property, I believe, possibly maybe before they moved, walking around by himself. And as you hear, never any lights on, nobody in the backyard playing, planting flowers, doing anything. No children playing, period. So they have a total of 6 children. So you're not seeing any children, but then the flip side is somebody did say they did see some children. So I don't know, maybe the children came and went. I don't know. Maybe they let them out for a breath of fresh air. I can't say because I do not know. But what is strange is that naturally, when you're looking at your own backyard, you will notice things with your other neighbors, not to be prying or being nosy, but you will notice certain things going on with your neighbors. And so this lady is speaking of her parents' house. They were renting the house and nobody saw anything going on in that backyard belonging to the West because her yard, the mother's yard, faces the West's yard. Also, many of you who followed the content from last year, a video came to YouTube showing them getting in and out of the car with the children. 4 children only coming and going on the Sunday before they called 911 about the children missing. That is going to be very pivotal in the information that I bring in my questions, in my commentary this evening. Because I have a feeling that that video, once it was released to YouTube, that is the information that led to the case being turned over to Bakersfield Police Department. Because in the commentary I brought you 30 minutes ago, the DA says that after the 911 call was made, police come to the scene of the house to investigate the disappearance of the children. The case was turned over from Cal City to Bakersfield, California. So you now have to ask yourself, what was the information that led to the turnover to Bakersfield, California? And I've got a feeling that part of the info is that video that got in the hands of a YouTuber, and they put that on their channel and uploaded it to YouTube. And 2, somebody has talked. Either it was the child, children, they told something, perhaps, early on. Because remember, the children were taken out of their custody immediately after they called 911 of the boys missing. So I believe it's a combination of the video and detectives talking to the children, because in the said indictment that I read, it is alluding to the fact that the parents stood in an authoritative figures aiding the commission of others in the murder or orchestrating the murder by others. And when I play this court TV, you will hear commentary from a woman in the commentary that is very eerie, because she will state that she has a feeling that others are involved in the crimes of the boys from her experience. And the first thing I thought is, did she read the indictment to draw that conclusion? Because if she hadn't read the indictment, then she's got a keen ear for information. Okay. Thank you all for joining me. I will now play you commentary by Court TV. Then I will give you my commentary pertaining to the charges of Jacqueline and Trezell West pleading not guilty in court. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. And thank you, Mr. Politan, for staying on this case. Thank you so much. And Brian Wayne. If you need verification for the information I'm about to play, Court TV is the source. This is a 15-minute video. Thank you for joining me.
Politan, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Great to have you aboard. You know, there is no responsibility more awesome than the responsibility of being a parent. And for those of us who have children, we understand that. When you bring life into the world and there's this little human, and you now are responsible for everything. You've got to keep that child safe. You've got to keep that child warm. You've got to keep the child fed. And you've got to make sure that child grows and becomes a young adult. And that whole time, you just carry this incredible amount of anxiety and am I doing the right thing? It's tough. It is tough stuff. And we know there's great parts of parenting. The rewards are endless. But that responsibility is real, which is why when I think of parents who have adopted children and think of the added responsibilities that they have and the added challenges that they have, I have so much respect for what adoptive parents do. And when they adopt a child out of foster care, wow, you are an angel. You are amazing. And thank goodness there are people like that are willing to do that and help these children who need everything. Because whatever happened in their lives, they need to be saved from. And that's why the first time I heard the story of Orrin and Orson West, a 3 and a 4-year-old. Look at these little, oh goodness, look at these little guys. Are you kidding me? 3 and 4 years old, and there was a story that they were missing. So I said, of course we have to cover this story. Brothers, 3 and 4, both missing. We need to find them and bring them home. Let's cover that story. And we did, and we have been covering that story. And it was one of our unsolved cases here on Closing Arguments. You know, the stories that we do again and again and again, looking for tips, looking for clues, looking for answers. Well, tonight, according to the district attorney in Kern County, California, that case has been solved. And it's not what you want to hear tonight. It's not what I wanted to hear. Because the people responsible for the disappearance of those 2 angels were the 2 people who were supposed to save them. Mom and dad. The adoptive mother and father. Those two little guys were having a rough life. They were in foster care. And then two people said, yes, we'll take those children. We'll take care of them. We'll bring them into our family. And now tonight, it's a completely different story. Because Trezell West and Jacqueline West, mom and dad, are charged with murder. Here's the district attorney.
I have information about Orrin and Orson West, the two young boys who were reported missing from California City 14 months ago. On December 21st of 2020, Orrin was 4 years old and Orson was 3 years old. Their adoptive parents in California City, Trezell West and Jacqueline West, reported to the California City Police Department that the boys had disappeared from their backyard. The California City Police Department began a search for the boys in the area around their home. After a period of time, the FBI joined in the search, as did the California Highway Patrol and search and rescue from the Kern County Sheriff's Department. The community also came out to assist in looking for the boys, but to no avail. They were not located. 1 week later, crucial information came to light that necessitated the involvement of the Bakersfield Police Department and the Kern County District Attorney's Office. Law enforcement worked diligently, hundreds of hours in the next 12 months, looking for the boys. This morning, I'm saddened to announce that the investigation has revealed that Orrin and Orson West are deceased. The investigation has also revealed that they died 3 months before their adoptive parents reported them missing. However, I am pleased to announce that this week, the Kern County Grand Jury indicted Trezell and Jacqueline West, the adoptive parents, for the murder of Orrin and Orson West. The indictment charges 5 counts. The first count is murder. Charges them both with murder, with the victim being Orrin West. The second count charges murder, with the victim being Orson West. The third count charges felony child abuse against the person of Orrin West. The fourth count charges child abuse against the person of Orson West. And the fifth count charges false report of an emergency. Naturally, the first 2 counts carry the most time in state prison, murder. It is charged as murder in the second degree. That carries 15 years to life, but with 2 victims, the potential penalty or the maximum possible penalty, if convicted, is 30 years to life for each defendant, Trezell and Jacqueline West. However, one of the questions that I'm sure you would like to know is, have the bodies of Orrin and Orson been found? And the answer to that is no, they have not been found. However, I would like to emphasize that the fact that law enforcement have not found their bodies does not preclude a murder prosecution. As a matter of fact, there have been many hundreds of what we call no-body homicides prosecuted across the United States successfully, and even no-body homicides have resulted in murder convictions in Kern County.
Never took us for a canoe.
Sorry about that, you guys.
But when my car insurance rate kept going up,
And even no body homicides have resulted in murder convictions in Kern County.
So sad. I mean, it's heartbreaking. Everyone was hoping that, the children, best case scenario, were abducted by someone who wanted children and would be raising those little guys as their own. Didn't turn out that way. Let's bring in our think tank tonight. Joining us in Atlanta, Georgia, criminal defense attorney Jacqueline Mercy. In Los Angeles, California, former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani. And in Phoenix, Arizona, criminal defense attorney and the attorney who represented Jodi Arias, and the author of the book series, which you need to read, Trapped with Ms. Arias. Kirk Nerby is with us. Great to see everyone tonight. If you don't mind, I'm going to start with Nima. He's in California. He's the former prosecutor here. First thing that stuck out to me, second-degree murder in this case, Nima. Second degree, not first degree. What does that tell you about what prosecutors are dealing with here and what challenges they may have if they've only charged second degree?
An incredibly sad case, Vinny. Like you said, I mean, there's nothing worse than a parent killing their own child, and an adopted child, for all intents and purposes, legally is your own child. So I know the biological parents disagree with that. But, we've been tracking this case for a year, and the question we've said is, what took so long? Why is the DA not charged this case? Where are these children? And the fact that the parents reported the bodies missing 3 months later, for me, I mean, that is the smoking gun, right? That is the proof of guilt there. And why not first degree? I mean, first degree requires that premeditation. Clearly, there's some cruelty going on because really, the DA said child abuse, but it's willful cruelty to a child that we're dealing with here. So there's at least some allegations of physical abuse, I believe, maybe even torture. And again, this is just speculation that resulted in these young children dying. So I don't think they have enough for premeditation, but they certainly have enough to put these two in prison for the rest of their life.
Here's the part that I don't understand about that, though, Nima, and I'll throw this to Kirk, is it's two children, right? So I'm like, you're torturing your child and then the child dies, right? Okay? Like, I've seen that case. I've covered that case. But this is two children. So I'm wondering, under what circumstances could we imagine that you don't plan to kill the two children, but you kill two children? That's the part I don't understand here, Kirk.
Well, Vinny, it's hard to fathom those circumstances, isn't it, when we're talking about children that are 3 or 4 years old. But I think one of the keys that we heard in that press conference out of the district attorney was that they had information related to the idea that these young boys had been killed 3 to 4 months prior to them reported missing. That tells me that the prosecutors have some pretty specific information. And we could probably envision a scenario where was sadly often the case that these children were probably abused together, perhaps in their room, what have you, and that ultimately led to death. And that goes to what Nima said, they couldn't quite prove the premeditation. But if they were together all the time, sadly abused and tortured together, I think that's why we're seeing second degree. But I think the prosecutors have a pretty strong case if they can pinpoint that point in time when these children were killed.
Yeah, 6 children in the house. I mean, young couple, 6 children, 2 biological. They had 4 adopted children and now had 2, but I believe Family Services has all 4 kids now that are left. Jacqueline Mercy, I want to ask you about the no body. They have not found these children. But first, I want you to listen to Trezell West with his wife there. This is when everybody was looking for these kids, when they spoke publicly and kind of told their story. Listen.
Tell us what happened the night the kids went missing.
In my yard. It was cold. I was going to make a fire. There's a lot of wood in this area right here next to our house. I opened up the back gate. I'm throwing wood, bringing it inside the house. My wife's inside. She was actually wrapping gifts, so we thought it was a good idea. They got our youngest 2 go outside and play with chalk in the back patio. Do not let them go on the dirt in the backyard. Keep them close. They was playing with chalk, and I came to the house. I saw them there. I went in the house. I came back out. I didn't see them now. I immediately went back in, asked my wife, "Did you see the boys?" She said, "No, they should be outside playing with chalk." I said, "Well, I didn't see them." So I came back outside and I started searching my backyard. I searched the whole thing. I realized that I left the gate open and I panicked, came inside the house, searched the house, me and my wife. Once that didn't pan out, I got in the van. I looked down the street, both directions. It was getting dark, getting cold. And I got in the van and I hit a bunch of corners. I went down this street. I turned my light on. I searched. I called their names. Talked to a gentleman on the street on the other side over there. He didn't see me. So then I came home and I told my wife, "We need to call the cops."
All right, Jacqueline, that's their story, okay?
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Let me ask you something, though. At the trial, is that the story, or are they going to pull the old Casey Anthony routine where, and now for something completely different in our opening statement that has nothing to do with all the prior statements made by the accused murderers?
Absolutely, and that's their right. But I personally feel like they may have other suspects because as a guardian ad litem, I also did that, and I also represented children before they were adopted. We saw a lot of situations in which the new families, it's the siblings, it could be other people around the home that have done things. So I don't think it's a slam dunk per se, and if they are protecting somebody, I think that the prosecution should make a lot of more should make a thorough investigation and really look at how many people are in the home, because we still don't have a body, which will actually help the prosecution if they offer somebody a deal. If they offered one of them a deal, I think that we should all get closure and at the very least be able to find where the children are. So I think that it's still kind of murky. We don't have any bodies, and even with the information that the prosecution has to prove second-degree murder, I know it's been done before, but it's 2 bodies instead of 1.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. That's Court TV. That's some very interesting information that lady was saying at the end of this commentary, that possibly that there were other people involved. Now, as I said, I do not know if she was already scripted or the information before going live with Billy Politan for this Court TV segment. Obviously, she knows the law. So therefore, oh, Lord. Anyway, I can't read the comments. Y'all doing too much chatting. Talking a lot of crazy stuff in the chat. It's interesting what she says in that commentary pertaining to others being involved. When I went live yesterday evening, people were coming in the chat saying the kids were involved. The kids were involved. When I first read you information from the DA, it wasn't worded specifically as what was in the indictment. So therefore, I had no information about any children involved. And obviously, it didn't dawn on me that the other children in the household are the culprits alongside Jackie and Trezell. As I stated in the beginning of this live, they pled not guilty in court today. I brought you information pertaining to what was seen in the photographs and what was in court. Both parties stood feet away from each other in the court with different attorneys. Did one of them decide to flip on the other one? Because what you have to ask yourselves is why in the photograph there are 2 different attorneys in the said commentary. I will start my commentary now. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. If you'd like to donate to the channel, $BeganJu129 Cash App. All super chats are welcome during the live. Here we go. Oh, mercy. After 1 week of the 911 call to the dispatch of the missing children by the West family, information was turned over to Bakersfield Police Department. What was the info? As I said earlier, I believe the video that came to YouTube of them entering their van with 4 children only is one of the possible pieces of evidence that got this crime case turned over to Bakersfield Police Department. Because 1 week of investigating in Cal City is strange for it to then be turned over to Bakersfield Police Department. And the public did not know about Bakersfield involvement in taking the case until March of last year. Why is that? Why didn't you tell us early on you moved the case? Is it because you didn't want the family to know that you were possibly on to them and that they had been lying to you all about what happened in Cal City pertaining to the children missing on December 21st? Hold on 1 second, you guys. Trying to do something. Watch the chat. As I said, 1 week after the 911 call, the case moved from Cal City to Bakersfield, California. Why is that? What is the info? As I said, I believe it's the video showing them going in the house and coming out of the house 2 days before they called 911. Jacqueline and Trezell were entering their van with one child. I mean, 4 children, excuse me, not the 6, excuse me. So this is where I believe the information comes in. What was the info? Once again, was it the video of the family with the 4 kids only? And police got a hold of that information, so the information was turned over to Bakersfield Police Department alongside the case. Why no arrest after that video was released? As they said in this commentary with Billy Politan, the man says, I'm stunned that this went on a whole year. Is it because they were still investigating the case with data, DNA, digital prints, and still searching for a bodies? We get information from the district attorney that the children were killed 3 months before the West moved to Cal City. Where did you get that information from? And what is the information that brings you to that conclusion that the children were killed 3 months before December 21st? Is it video? Did Jacqueline and Trezell West tape the murders of Orrin and Orson West and try to delete it, erase it, but naturally FBI did a deep dive into their cell phones, devices, and found a video recording of the murders of the children? Oh, Diane, you're all right. I was trying to block somebody else out that was coming in, being cynical. Sorry about that. How much information do they have, and what is the information? That is the main question. Besides, where are the boys? Because the district attorney has now told the public of the said indictments against both parties that they were in authoritative figures against, obviously, the children. And possibly the children are the culprits as well as murderers of their own brothers. Lord have mercy. Did the children assault and kill their own brothers? If so, why no arrest in the beginning of this investigation? When did the DA get the info that the boys had died before December 21st? Once again, was this crime video taped on a cell phone? Did they get a confession by someone else that these parents confessed? Did the parents confess to somebody, an outside party, that they killed the children? or that they orchestrated their children to kill the boys? Did the kids tell it in the investigation in the beginning that they were ordered to beat and torture their own brothers to death? I really don't like talking about the children in this way. But as I said, once I read the entire indictment, because I don't go by hearsay, I read it for myself and tried to comprehend it to the best of my sane ability. It does show that the participants' parents are being charged with aiding others to the murder of the two children. So that leaves one to only assume it is the other children in the house. This is so asinine and crazy to me. As I said, did the kids tell that they beat their own brothers to death? How old are the two youngest children? Are they able to comprehend and explain what they saw and experienced in the house and or the murders of the two brothers? Did a neighbor hear of the abuse and death at the last apartment complex, which is Casaloma Apartments? Did somebody there hear something, see something, and came forward and brought information to the police department? Is this one of the 50 witnesses that testified before the grand jury? Lord have mercy. Who are the 50 witnesses and what are their connections to the family and the children? Did someone or more witness abuse, neglect, and murder of the two children? If true, when did the said parties come forward to bring the information to law enforcement? Immediately when the children were announced as missing, or somewhere down the road, or a couple of months before this airing of information by the district attorney of the arrest of Jacqueline and Trezell? I'm very curious to know who saw what and who told what. Was this information known by the police early on? And the reason why they didn't bring it forward to the public is because they needed a body. Did law enforcement confront the West with the information 1 week after they got it about the 3 months before moving to Cal City that the children were dead? Did law enforcement go to Jacqueline and Trezell West with the information that they know that the children were dead, and that they had killed the children alongside their own children 3 months before they moved to Cal City? This is ridiculous. What was their response if the law enforcement asked them about the deaths of the children before moving to Cal City? Lord Jesus. Where are the boys, Jacqueline and Trezell? What did you do with them? What did you do with the children? Because this is a baffling case that the district attorney says she has concrete information and circumstantial evidence to say that these two killed the kids with the aid of their own children. If this is what we're saying, oh, Lord have mercy. This is insane. I can't believe I'm repeating this. Where are the boys, Jackie and Trezell? Will they turn on one another? Will they give a different version? Has one already given a different version? As I said, there are pictures of them in court with different attorneys. That means somebody has already said something against the other one, I would believe. Why would they need two separate attorneys? you would have one attorney if you are one in accord. Stay woke. Oh, Lord. Will they tell where the boys are? As to one getting a plea deal, because the law reference one who speaks first is the one that gets the plea. But if they have information to show that both are complicit in the deaths of the children, I doubt that the state of California will give either party a plea to the crimes of murder against the two children. Will a plea be offered to either Trezell or Jacqueline West? Do both know where the children are buried? Is this a one-party burial or a two-party burial of knowledge of the said children? Who is the orchestrator of the deaths of the boys? Is it either Trezell or is it Jacqueline or is it both? When the photo went to social media pertaining to the RV that Trezell was driving in this week, and it was posted to social media and then took down, is this relevant to the apprehension and arrest of Jacqueline and Trezell West on Tuesday evening in California? Had law officials been looking for Jacqueline and Trezell West? The fact that the neighbors in this commentary I played today state that they backed the van up to the door. The elderly man has been interviewed by 2 news stations. And he says that didn't see children. He would back up the van, Mr. Trezell, to the front door as to conceal people coming in and going out. Also backed up to the garage. Trezell, what were you hiding? Is this because you knew you had murdered those children, had your children murder the children, and you moved to Cal City to get away from your crimes that you exacted against 2 innocent children in Bakersfield, California, and then you wanted to play possum out in the middle of the damn desert, backing your car up to the door? Hiding what exactly? So now we have to see, we have evidence that you and this bat you've been laying up with are very dirty. And you've been living this recluse life for whatever reason, and you move out in the middle of nowhere after murdering 2 kids and trying to hide the children that you have. This is absolutely insane. What kind of life were you going to offer your kids, hiding them inside of the house, never letting them out? A YouTuber talked to a neighbor shortly after this story went to print, and a neighbor, a male, said that the children would look out of the window in the Casa Loma apartments watching the other children play outside. So that means you never what? Let your children go outside? So not only were you abusing the 2 boys that are now dead, you obviously were abusing your other children. But that is the information I've brought you all pertaining to filicide and murder of children. That do not think that other children are favored because they are alive. Stop saying he liked her better. He liked this one better. She liked this one better. They are murderers and abusers. You don't get a pass because you treat Susie better than John. You're still diabolical, and you have no rights to have children. And to blame a child for being rambunctious, wayward, bad, child is a child. And he or she learns from the environment that they in. Perhaps the children were rambunctious. Perhaps they didn't mind, didn't listen. Maybe they had developmental disabilities. I do not know, but the point is they were children and they did not deserve to be beat to death and then discarded and hid like trash. And you don't deserve that even as an adult. This is a very wicked story coming out of California. Did Wanda, Phil, and their son Jamal know about the boy's death? Did they suspect Jacqueline and Trezell West of killing, harming, selling the children at that time? How do they feel now about the arrest of their son, brother, and Jacqueline? How does Jacqueline's family feel seeing her in a green outfit in the county jail? What about the children left behind in the state's care? Because now, if we are to believe that some of those children beat those boys to death, the two older boys, I would assume, their biological children, because they were older than the foster children and adopted children who are now dead. What in the world are psychiatrists to do with these children? Now we have to pray that these children get psychiatric help to not grow up to be sadists, because they will be carrying the burden of knowing they beat their own brothers to death. Are you all listening to what I'm saying to you? Because repeating it is asinine and atrocious. If the kids indeed did this under the direction of the parents or one of the parents, how will this turn out now for the children? Also going to court to testify. Will the older children be put in juvenile facilities till their 18th or 21st birthday? Why didn't any of the family get the said children left behind after the 911 call? Very strange that the biological children were not placed with any of Trezell or Jacqueline's family. Why is that? Very, very strange. Not one parent, grandparent got the children. Stay woke. Is the reason why the children were never placed, the biological children, were never placed with any family members, is because FBI law enforcement knew that the kids were involved 1 week later in the deaths of their brothers. So they told CPS of their findings in this case early on, stay woke, early on, and they instructed CPS that the boys were involved in the deaths of their own brothers. And CPS decided to not let any relative adopt and or foster the children. As most of you know, it is said that they brought in $2,000 a month after the fact for income, Jacqueline and Trezell West, and they were also ordered to pay child support to the state of California for the state to keep the children in their custody, the remaining 4 children. And now that we have this new information from the district attorney's office, are we now thinking that they would not have been getting their kids back ever? Because the district attorney has said 1 week after the 911 calls were made, they got information that the children were already dead and had died. This makes no sense to me. If I'm to believe that that is true, because I don't want to quote anything wrong. She said they got crucial information about the boys 1 week after the 911 call, and the case was turned over to Bakersfield, California PD. As I said, what is that information? Was it knowing that the children were dead, knowing that the children died in September, that the boys killed their own brothers? And if all that is true, why in God's name did we not find out until March of 2020? And why did it take so long to get an arrest of Jacqueline and Trezell West? And what will they do with the boys that they believe killed the children? And will there be other arrests to knowledge thereof of abuse, neglect, and murder of the boys. As you heard in this commentary of Court TV, one of the attorneys said, I'm trying to understand why this case went on so long for a year with no arrest. This is baffling to me. As I said, where are the boys? Where are they buried? Will Jacqueline and Trezell West tell where the children are? I doubt it. Because you see, in order to tell where the children are, you're admitting that you discarded the children, which is another charge of abuse of a corpse. That will be another charge. If you confess to burying them, then that means you have covered up the deaths of the boys. And if they have evidence that Jacqueline and both Trezell orchestrated the deaths of the children, then they are complicit to the deaths. I doubt that there could even be a plea offered. What is the evidence against Jacqueline and Trezell West that brought forth the indictment of second-degree murder charges for both adoptive parents? And how long has Cal City and Bakersfield Police Department known that the children were already dead and that they died 3 months before December 21st, 2020? What in the hell are we saying? What in the hell are you saying out there in California? Because this is atrocious. To know that the kids were already dead. People are searching for them. High reward for the children. Who will get the reward? That's another question. Did somebody give information about the children being deceased? Or did they find out digitally that the children were beat to death by the other said children? Lord have mercy, I'm done. Thank you all for joining me. That is my commentary pertaining to Jacqueline and Trezell West pleading guilty to, not guilty to the murder of the children, the murders of the children. Will one of them turn on the other? Will one tell what actually happened in the month of September 2020, if that is exactly the time of the death of the children? Will one turn on the other? Has one already turned on the other? Are there other people involved that had knowledge thereof pertaining to the children and after the fact and never came forward with the information? You're very welcome, sweetheart. Thank you so much. If you would like to give your commentary on a panel, feel free to say you would like to hear opinions. If not, I will conclude this live. Thank you so much for joining me. $329 viewing. God is good. Amen. Thank you. Exactly. Nobody was fit to raise those sweet boys, and CPS also failed them. Those two boys were their cash flow and meant nothing to them. Well, the flip side of that is the defense can argue that's not true. Because when they decided to adopt the children, their money stopped. It didn't stop, but it went lower. When you adopt a child out of foster care, your stipend becomes lower. You still get money from the state of California if you adopt a child out of foster care into adoption. So one could argue, no, they cared for the children. They knew that they would lose money by adopting them. So now we have to ask ourselves, did Jacqueline and Trezell West really want all the children? They really wanted the boys, but something went terribly wrong. Because as I said, the money drops once you adopt the children. So it can't be argued that it was always about the money. because they knew that once they adopted the boys, the pay would be lowered. So why would I lower the pay by adopting them when I could keep them as foster children? Stay woke. The other remaining 2 were alleged foster children and not adopted. And then they had their own biological children, 2 which were older than the 4 remaining children. Well, Susan, their income became being paid by the state for 4 children. That was their income. I'm not going to say what they did and didn't do in the beginning of fostering children. Common sense would tell you they had some income when they first got the kids, fostered the children, started fostering children. And perhaps down the road, Trezell stopped working, she stopped working, whichsoever, but the state still allowed them to have the children. It is what it is. Can't go back now. And the state is never going to take responsibility for not thoroughly checking background checks and checking on the kids, because we don't really know what the hell was going on with these people. And yes, 2020 was the start of COVID, which was March 2020. So therefore, a lot of things would have gone under the radar pertaining to this case and other cases of abuse, neglect, missing persons. What's the problem? Of course, they would plead not guilty. They know that law enforcement has not found the bodies. So why would I go in court and say, yeah, I killed these kids. Yeah, I orchestrated my other children to kill the children. You don't have a body. And they know that you've got to bring forward evidence to show that they killed those kids. Now, maybe Jacqueline and Trezell are not that smart, but they're going to lean on faith, whatever faith they got and believe in, that they will get off. Because they know in their hearts they hid those boys well, so they're not worried about anybody finding the kids. Their only motivation right now is to fight the evidence that the state has against them. And the state has said, we have concrete evidence and circumstantial evidence against the 2. They adopted them. That's why they changed their names. A lot of people change the names of the children when they adopt them. It's what people do. One hour and 27 minutes into this commentary. Thank you so much for joining me. If you need verification for anything that I played, it's on my community posts. And I give a source behind every article that I've read. Bakersfield.com and also Buying Wayne News 7, Denver. You need verification for any information that's been relayed in this commentary. Thank you for joining me. Thank all mods, new guests, visitors for stopping by. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining me. Those leaving, thank you so kindly for listening to the content. If you'd like to join the panel to give your thoughts on Jacqueline and Trezell West pleading not guilty in court, please hit the link. Will there be other arrests? Did his parents know of what he did to the children? Were they suspicious about not seeing the children? Did they ever visit with the children, or did the children visit with the grandparents on both sides of the family? What do their parents know? Who are all the witnesses? Their relations to the case, the children, the family, adoptive parents. It is alleged that they were emotional, most of the eyewitnesses, when they testified before the grand jury. So one would have to ask themselves, why are you emotional testifying about the boys? I mean, it's obvious it is a serious situation that they're missing. But if they didn't know that the children were dead, why would they be emotional in testifying? Unless somebody, plural, knew that the boys were neglected, abused, and already deceased. Thank you. Ginger Smith is in the indictment. I'm not here to argue anything about the indictment. People came in the chat with that yesterday. I did not believe it until people kept saying it, and I had to go in and read the indictment myself. Well, the children are dead, and the state says they got proof that they're dead. So that's, I'm not here to argue what the state has, because I don't know what they have. If you'd like to give your commentary, feel free. All righty. The children were removed from the bio donors. I think that's obvious. That's why they were in foster care. Obviously, the parents were unfit. That's why they were removed out of the care of the parents. The bio mother does not have any of her children. She had a total of 4 children. All children were removed from the state and the parents, the bio donor males of the 2 older children. So that is why the children were in foster care. All 4 of her children are out of her possession. Hello.
Hi.
Turn the background down, please.
I don't have any background. I'm outside.
Well, I can hear myself echoing, man.
I don't know what to do. I could go out and come back in. I mean, I don't know. I'm outside. I'm not in on a computer. I'm on my phone.
Okay. Do you have anything open on YouTube on your phone?
You.
Okay, I'll just come back. Okay. If you'd like to hit the link and give your commentary pertaining to the plea that the bio-adoptive, put into, I'm getting confused today. The adoptive parents pled not guilty. Feel free to hit the link if you want to give your opinion pertaining to the plea. Thank you so much for joining me. Yes, real deal. Thank you. Do not use profanity in the chat. Thank you. I guess it's a black person's name. His mama black, she gave it to him. Maybe you should ask Wanda. Blonde, that's not a nice comment to make. They're children. And you all doing too much. Yeah, probably fraud charges as well. Beth, you just have to come in. You have to have everything closed, sweetheart, when you come up on the phone. That's all. But thank you for watching. Hello, Joel. How are you doing? The link is in the chat. If you have an opinion pertaining to the parents' plea, feel free to get your commentary. Well, just because somebody says they want their child back doesn't mean they deserve to have their children back. My thing is this. There's a reason for the child to be removed from the parents' custody. That's between that person and the state to argue back and forth about why they should get their child back. It's up to the state to decide if you are deserving to get your child back. But just because you ask for your child back does not mean you deserve to have your child back because your child was taken from you in the first place. And people need to own why their children are removed from their care. I refuse to believe that social workers are running around eavesdropping at your door and windows watching you abuse your kids. Somebody has to call and give information pertaining to something going on in your household pertaining to your kids. And it's up to the state to investigate and bring forth information to say yay or nay if your children should stay in your custody or not. It's not too late if the state has already asked you to comply with the rules to get your children back. If you do not comply, the state is not going to chase you around for you to get your kids back. That's not their job. Thousands of kids are in the state's care in California. You want them to sit and babysit you while you decide to grow up and be a parent. That's not their job. If you want your kids back, you would do what you need to do to get your children back. This is self-explanatory. How about you don't get your kids taken in the first place and nobody has to worry about getting the child back, complying with the rules and regulations of the state, hearing that your child is missing and now dead? How about that? Jesus Christ, what is the deal? Hello?
Hi.
Where are you calling from, honey?
Kentucky.
How are you?
Okay. Are you all right?
I'm just giving my opinion. I mean, it's my channel. It's my opinion. I'm just giving the commentary, sweetheart.
I know, sweetie. I was just making sure you was okay. I know you've been having some hard times lately, like everybody.
Well, I'm not really having no hard times. It's just I'm bringing the commentary. I'm responding to the comments in the chat.
Yeah, I know it's just the commentary of what you give to us every day. I know it's got to be taxing on you because I know what it does to me.
Yeah, well, it's just, I mean, it has its moments, but my thing is, it's time for people to grow up. It's time for people to stop blaming other people for their own decisions and other people's decisions. I take everything with a grain of salt. I'm not going to sit here and point fingers at this agency, because in the end, these people don't know you from Adam. Nobody can just walk up and say, hey, I know you got 5 kids. You're struggling, or you're on welfare, or you don't got no help, or the baby daddy ain't in the picture. How would somebody know that? They don't know that.
Right, they don't.
So if they get information that your child is being abused, it's their job to come and investigate to see what's going on. So definitely, it's not their job to chase you around and say, hey, you missed a meeting. Hey, you missed a class today. Hey, are you going to respond to our mail? You see where I'm going? That's not their job.
That's right.
That's not their job.
That's right.
Go ahead, give your opinion, sweetie.
Well, it sounds like they have some pretty hard evidence on the parents and knew about it, and it does sound like there could be more people involved. Is that what they're waiting for? Or,
I don't know, babe. I have no idea.
Why'd they wait 3 months? I mean, oh my goodness.
I mean, none of this makes any sense.
Yeah, and it's sad. Thanks to people like you, I did not really realize how bad and how evil this world is. I mean, it's just.
What do you mean?
It's just getting sadder and sadder. You know, when you have children killing other children, and beating little children to death. I mean, it's just.
But you hear about it all the time. You do watch the news, don't you, sweetheart?
Oh yes. It just seems like there's an uptick of it or something. I don't know if COVID slammed us all into this.
Well, I just think it's people that can't cope well. They can't cope with parenting, which it is normal to have postpartum depression, stress, your temper flies off. But you have to remember that's a child. He or she can't defend himself. A 6-month-old can't fight you. A toddler can't fight you. An 8-year-old can't fight you. That's not their job.
Right.
So when you see that you're not doing your best as parents, you need to try to find somebody that can help you. And if you realize that you can no longer be the parent, then you take the necessary steps to place your child in foster care, adoption, or with a family member. Beating your kid to death is not going to help. Now you're going to go to penitentiary when all you had to do was find an alternative.
Right. And say, hey, I can't handle the children anymore. Can you take them back? You know, and not just say, oh, they're rambunctious.
Keep talking, honey. You keep talking.
You know,
go ahead.
If you can't take care of 2 toddlers, is going to be a handful, you know, on anybody, especially the older you get. But if they could not handle them, they should have given back to, you know, back to CPS or whatever agency they call it out there.
Yeah.
Instead of.
Don't you find it strange that none of the children were placed with the relatives of either parent, adoptive parent?
I do, but it makes you wonder, when they went in and took those kids out, what did they find in that home?
Yeah, see, I think what they found in the home was nothing. There was nothing in there. They weren't living like normal people. It was alleged that people had went through the garbage can after the fact and found a lot of liquor bottles. I was thinking about that when I was watching court TV and the news give their, commentary pertaining to the timeline of the case. And I think they were drunkards. I think they didn't give a damn about nothing. I think they knew that the heat was coming down pertaining to those missing kids. They moved out there to the desert because they were living a certain type of way, probably had been mistreating the children for a long time.
Yes.
I just think they were wayward people. And I'm sure in that house they found all types of things that showed the boys weren't there, which the only thing that's weird about that is they said the scent of the boys were there. So I don't know if they had other clothing and items that maybe the other children were wearing, but it just seems strange that the dogs would hit on a scent in the house, but that's it. No other type of evidence, that like blood or semen, or you understand what I'm saying. So this is very strange, a very strange story. And I'm wondering if perhaps, people keep asking, did the children make it to the house or not? Well, one could say, well, how could they have made it there if they died in September? But we have information that Trezell went to the house many times and was alone. And then the other children weren't seen. So you really don't know what to believe and what to think. And there was a lot of strange things going on with that house. It going from one hand to the other. It's just something strange about everything. The neighbors are strange. The dealings of the people selling the house, all of that shit was strange. Stuff we brought out, a year ago with other people knowing of each other, moving on the same block from one town to the other. It's just a lot of strange behavior fraudulent behavior of even the damn neighbors. I don't know. I just think it's a crazy case.
Yes.
Crazy case. Stuff that just don't add up and make no damn sense. Such as allegedly there was mail going there to that house to for his brother. So why would that mail be going to that house back in the spring of 2020 when they didn't move into the house until September, October 2020 in Cal City?
That is strange.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of weird stuff that was coming up in Google searches and things that I got from a source pertaining to mail, the neighbors. They're all linked to that Casa Loma apartment complex. I thought, Jesus Christ, is that the only apartment complex in a 40-mile radius that people could live in? And how is it that the same people that are now accused of murdering their kids lived at the Casa Loma apartments, but then you got people on the same fucking street that also lived at Casa Loma? It's just a lot of weird coincidences. Just strange to me. Very strange.
Yes. And how did the neighbor know that evening to the video that got out on, I think, YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
That evening, was that like a security camera, or was
Yeah,
he?
that's a camera off somebody's house.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, they gave it to a YouTuber, and the YouTuber put it on their channel. So I'm thinking that's part of the evidence that led them to believe that the children never made it. Because if I'm seeing 2 days beforehand, that footage was taken on a Sunday, allegedly. They didn't call the police until Tuesday evening. So that means you never had the boys anyway on Sunday.
Right.
So I think that's part of the evidence that it was introduced to law officials. They got a hold of that video, and they realized there was something hanky-panky going on with Jacqueline and Trezell and the 911 call.
Yeah, and he didn't walk very far. I mean, like 5 minutes down the road and back up around a little bit, and that was it. And then he got in the van and drove around a little bit, but you didn't hear him call. I don't know if it has any voice on it or anything, but some do. I mean, he didn't look very long.
Well, I have to do something to pretend like I did, because I know that somebody's probably going to say, yeah, I saw him walking around. Yeah, I saw him calling. Where I'm confused is the main questions. Where are the boys? Why did you move to Cal City? Why did you kill the children, orchestrate your other children to kill the children, if that is the true allegations against them? And why did you wait on that day, December 21st, to call 911? What was so important that led you that you called on that day? Because in my opinion, if he was acting secretive, as the neighbor says, backing the van up to the doors, the garage, they knew somebody was coming, or they had dealt with somebody asking about the boys. I think that's obvious at this point.
I think so too. When that man just testified that you played on there, that he backed that van up so no one could see anything.
Yeah, you're not going to do that. Why are you going to do that? Why are you going to block the doorway like you're loading cargo out? It's very creepy. Very sick.
He might have just had them there long enough to get the scent there at the house. And then moved them. Maybe.
Yeah, it could be. That's why I said I don't know if perhaps the children were sharing clothes. Because you got to think, 6 children, that's very expensive as far as buying clothes. Could it be that the children that were remaining were wearing the clothes of the dead boys?
Right.
And that's why they have the scent of the children at the house in Cal City.
It very well could be.
It's a very, very sick case. But I do believe that somebody was inquiring about the children. Either a doctor was trying to notify them, or CPS, or somebody. And they didn't comply. They fell off the grid. And that's what led to them saying, we better go on and say these kids are missing, because they're wanting to see the children. I think what has happened is that CPS got some information about how they were treating the children, perhaps. Maybe neighbors were hearing something through the walls or something. And then they moved, thinking it would go away, but then somebody kept coming around, banging, sending notice, letters, whatever, probably calling his mom too, her mom. So they came up with this concoction, we better say they're missing because the kids are dead.
Right.
Now somebody's asking about the kids. So now we got to come up with an excuse to where the children are. So we're going to say that they're missing. That way we're not liable. But see, that makes no sense because they're going to investigate the missing children that you've already killed. Let's talk about the main topic of the indictment, because that has not been thoroughly discussed in this live, because I find it very atrocious to even think that somebody would make their children kill another child. What do you think about the indictment that they are, I guess, coercion of children, beating the children to death? Because that's how it sounds.
I think the dark web and these sadistic, you said the word earlier, people probably get off on that crap. You know what I'm saying?
What are you saying? They filmed it to show it on. But that's stupid. You don't know who's watching that shit.
But I'd say there's big money in that, though. And especially neither one of them works.
Children fighting children.
Yes, and possibly even more, maybe.
Such as
there's
what?
No telling what. Well, SA or.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Do you believe the children beat the kids to death?
There's a possibility if they were in fear for their own lives too, yes.
No, Did Trezell and Jacqueline order the kids to beat the kids?
Oh, it could be, yes.
That? That's what's in the indictment. In other words,
yes, I believe they must have some strong evidence, and I believe, yes, that there's people out there that would do that.
Okay, so what do you think the evidence is? Because in order to say by an authoritative figure inducing others to do the crimes, and they have strong evidence, that can only mean one thing. Somebody told, and you've got video footage of the crime.
That's what I'm thinking. They've got some kind of digital evidence, and it says, hey, this is my phone. There's no denying it. They've got solid proof of this is what happened here.
When I was looking at his eyes last night, that would probably be the next video I do. His eyes tell the story. They zoomed in on the court TV. I think it was court TV. It was court TV or one of the news commentaries about it. And they zoomed in on his eyes and her eyes. And I'm telling you, that was the creepiest thing. When I was watching that late this morning, I was in the dark in my room watching it. And I was just like, this is some freaky, sick SHIT going on with these people. And the sad part is that if they indeed ordered their children to beat the kids on purpose for death, what in the world are we talking about? Because one of the boys is near 12 years old. That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good. This is some sick shit going on with these people. And I also find it interesting that they only had boy children. Naturally, they had 2 biological. They didn't have no choice in that. But the fact that they fostered and adopted a total of 4, what do you think about all the children being boys? Do you think there's a reason behind that? Hello?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Maybe because they already had biological boys, they would figure adopted boys would, like brothers get along better or something like that.
But you see the end result, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'm very curious to why there were no girl children fostered.
Yes. You know how they say, like a good fit, someone to play with someone your age or.
Yeah, but in the end, it's a flip of the coin to even decide if these people really cared about children or if this was just a money-making tool. Because how do you end up with 2 dead? I mean, Billy Politan really put it down that it's one thing to fathom killing one child. But how do you explain killing two children at the same time? They're missing at the same time, and now the DA has evidence that they were murdered at the same time, naturally. So how in the world are you going to explain that even in a courtroom, even as a defense attorney, why your client murdered two itty-bitty spiders at the same time and discarded them, and they have not been found?
Right, and it also it seems to go back to digital evidence too, where they've got an exact date and time. If they're
Yeah,
saying,
that's scary.
"Hey,
September
they
1st
were
to
3
September 30th.
months before it was even called in," so they have got to have something that's got like an exact time and date.
Yeah, well, that would go to either somebody's memory or digital. You filmed it.
Yeah.
And that's going to be even worse if they filmed the deaths. And imagine that playing out in the court. Imagine also the children having to come in and testify to how they were treated in their participation in the death of two babies.
I know. And that's what's the sad part too, is they're innocent children too. And it always seems like all this madness and crazy and bad stuff in the world always falls down on the innocent children. The innocent children are the ones that are hurt the most over adults' behavior, bad behavior. Because they're children themselves. I mean,
well, what's scary is how these children are going to turn out later if they don't get adequate help, mental help. Because if I have to sit here and believe that two or more, I don't think the two smaller ones participated because they would have been too little to do any harm. But the two older children, I believe, are the ones who were aided by their parents to harm the kids. They are messed up.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they're even in actual foster care.
They could be in some kind of juvenile, home or something to get them the help, hopefully, that they need,
So did it also occur to you why it took so long to bring forth an arrest warrant? Because I'm starting to believe with this issue of this van being circulated on social media that perhaps Jacqueline and Trezell were on the run and had not been complying with the state as far as paying monies for the child support. They had not been complying with any type of information pertaining to the boys. Could it be when they got arrested Tuesday, they were on the lam? They had not been cooperating with Bakersfield Police Department.
That's what it sounds like to me. They've been on the run.
Yeah, especially when they posted the picture, because I've been trying to correlate what's the purpose of everybody talking about the van being posted on social media. Then somebody took the post down. I thought, well, why are you posting that? You're just posting it because you realized who he was, and because maybe nobody had ever seen them out, and just decided, well, hey, that looks like the guy that their kids are missing. But then what's weird is that post the picture, next thing you know, they're being arrested. That is kind of, the timing is very odd.
Yes, it is.
Very strange. Very, very strange. If you'd like to hit the link to give your opinion before I check out of here pertaining to the plea that they put in is not guilty. Both parents, they had separate attorneys in court. Has one of them folded on the other one already, giving information, a different version. I'm kind of leaning towards believing that they are not in unison to the crimes that they have been accused of, because why would each parent have a different attorney in court? Lord have mercy. Very sick. Anything else you want to add, Ann?
That's what I'm wondering. Why, and they're pleading not guilty. If they've got something that hardcore, if they did record that and the timing, and yes, this is your phone. It seems like they could put some heat on them or something and say, where are these boys at? Where are these little babies at?
I don't know. But he made sure that they were not found. How about that?
Yeah.
He made sure of that. That's the sick part.
Yep.
Hello, Maud.
Hello, how are you?
Fine. So what do you think about the plea today, ma'am?
Well, I expected them to plead not guilty.
Okay.
I could have swore I read somewhere, maybe on a previous case or something. I don't think that they're allowed to have the same attorney.
Why not?
I think I read somewhere where if they're married, it's considered a conflict of interest. I don't quote me. I could have swore I read it on a previous case. I could be.
Well, let me ask you this.
wrong.
You know the couple, I never followed the story about the couple with their son shooting people at the school or whatever. Do they have separate attorneys?
Yes, they do.
And they said the same thing on that trial also. It's a conflict of interest.
Thank you, Lisa.
But I totally expected them to plead not guilty.
Okay.
I believe one of them is going to flip.
Because guess what? I already know the game because I've been lying for over a year. Hell no. I'm getting ready to get myself out of this the best way I can. If that means I'm 60 years old coming out that penitentiary, then so be it.
I think it's going to be her. I think we're going to.
Oh, she's going to lay it on thick. I was sick. I was abused. I was scared of him. This and that. Somebody's already putting out a rumor that when she was arrested, she was battered looking. I don't know if that's true or not. You know, I don't pass shit that I don't have no receipt to.
I mean, it very well could be. I mean, his eyes. I mean, he looks like a freak to begin with.
When they zoom in on the eyes on the commentary, it's something. But you know what's interesting about these types of crimes and cases is when you get the information that a person is dead, found dead, and or somebody's been arrested. You start to backtrack everything you ever heard, everything that was ever said, rumor, gossip, the parents' interview. Now those interviews are going to be played over and over. Now when you watch them, you can see her nodding on everything he said, shaking her head back and forth. He's taking a deep breath every time he explained what happened with the wood and the this. I mean, he paused between every sentence. Oh, it was cold. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I think he
had to think it out.
Yes, and he wanted to make sure everything he said was strategic.
Yes, it was strategic.
And you know, I was thinking earlier today, you know, we all in the beginning we're thinking, you know, why didn't the grandparents take them? Why didn't, you know, Wanda West take them? I really think that they've already been under investigation from day one.
Yeah, well, that's obvious with them saying 1 week after. One week after is to turn it over to Bakersfield is pivotal. Excuse me. It is pivotal. 1 week. So what did you get in 1 week to say they never made it here or they were killed in Bakersfield? You see where I'm going?
So I really think they got those little ones, or however old the other 4 are. I really think they have shed a lot of light on what went on with all 6 of them.
Who shed the light?
The kids. I really think.
So ask yourself this then. If the kids told what happened shortly after being the 911 call and being taken out of their custody, why would it in God's name take this long for an arrest? You could have held them on the children's statement until you gathered all the evidence.
Well, maybe that's what they were looking for. Maybe they were thinking, hey, they're young. I don't know how old the oldest one is.
Okay.
You know,
I think he's about 12. He's about 10. Because I think he was 10 at the time. Or 10, I'm not sure. Anything, he's under a preteen. So he would have been of age to have done, you know, some bodily harm to a smaller child.
Do you think that one of them children did something?
Sweetheart, it's in the indictment.
I haven't read it. I don't know exactly.
I read it already. You have to go back to the beginning of the video. Brian Wayne posted it to his Facebook page. So I read the indictment at the beginning of this live because people were coming in my live yesterday saying that the children were involved, and I didn't want to repeat that until I saw for myself because I don't repeat what other people say. went in and read the indictment today, and it says in there, it doesn't call a name. It just says that they were in an authoritative position and induced others to commit the crime.
But does it say others or possibly another child?
People put into an authoritative position. That's what's in the indictment.
Well, can't that be?
So they don't come out and just say, Pookie made Pookie kill this one. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't do that. It's in what I call criminal language.
Well, if they did
it's in lawyer language.
That's ill. I mean, they're already mentally ill to begin with.
So therefore, when because when I first read it with the district attorney's commentary, I didn't see it like that at first. So that's why it threw me off when people were coming in the chat saying, "Oh, the kids are involved." It threw me off because I was like, "Huh, what are y'all talking about?" So that's why I wouldn't repeat it in the live, because if I didn't see it myself, I won't repeat it. You all can say it all day in the chat, but I won't repeat it. I said, let me go find the indictment myself. So that's what I did today before going live. I read it out on the live verbatim, the charges.
I mean,
hit the link, John. Just scroll up and hit the link, sweetheart. Go pull up your phone and pull up the link. We have a Red Wolf.
Well,
Red Wolf, where are you calling from? Hello? I ain't worried about it. Go ahead, Kenzie. Finish talking.
I mean, we already know they're sick, but how much more sicker can this get if a child is really
it's gonna be bad, because even if I don't want the children to testify, what is the other proof that you have that they did this? So that means either a grown person told, the children told, or you have a video of the murder.
You know what? I really hope that these children were not involved. I really, truly do.
But it's an indictment. That's the part I'm trying to make.
I know that. And I just mentally keep telling myself there's...
Yeah, well, see, that's because don't nobody want to believe it. That's why yesterday I wouldn't repeat it in the live.
Can you imagine the mental...
I'm not going to repeat that in the live, and I don't have no proof. I don't work like that. I have to see stuff for myself before I just go repeat stuff.
Maybe, the children or child said they made me do X, Y, and Z. And then they started their investigation, or they're interviewing their other 50 or 60 people.
Yeah.
And maybe it just started all kind of...
Well, she's saying, listen. This is what she's saying, sweetheart. I have concrete proof that they did what is said in the indictment. And I also have circumstantial evidence. She also gives you a date of the time that it happened. So she's got something. I don't have to. She's
probably got it on camera. Video.
That's what I'm trying to explain
Picture,
to you. That they videotaped the crime. I think that's exactly what they did. Now, what reason they would have for videotaping this, the children beating other children or coercing the children to beat the children, is crazy. I don't even really like saying it, even though it's in the indictment that's what it's alluding to. I just don't even like saying it off my tongue. I want to hear her say it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want her to explain what she's saying in the indictment. That way, this is not a rumor or we're trying to put together. I just prefer the DA say it.
So, that little boy that murdered that young girl, his classmate last year sometime, the one that he stabbed her all those times?
I don't know.
Well, the parents had that video camera in the house. She was the mother that got arrested for washing the bloody clothes. What if they had video cameras in the house and they forgot about it? And when they went in, they, took
video cameras from where, honey?
Inside of the house. What if there's cameras?
You talking about Cal City?
Cal City, or
Well, see, that's the whole point of the story. We don't even know. Listen, Kinsley, we don't even know, sweetheart, if the children ever made it to Cal City.
Well, I'm saying, like my cameras on my house, they back up to a hard drive. So I can pull shit from last year.
Okay, but
So
that's
what
the
if
whole
they
point.
had a camera?
See,
at the
that's the
park?
whole point of what we're saying. We don't know what the evidence is. We're just guessing at this point what it is that they have. But all I'm saying is, I don't doubt that they filmed it off a cell phone.
Oh, good God.
Because that's usually what people do.
Yeah.
They don't film shit from the sky in their rooms. They film from their cell phone.
Well, if they did that.
So I think it's a combination of the video released to YouTube of them getting in and out of the car with 4 children only on that Sunday. The children have talked. Somebody has slipped up and told the truth. And also, possibly, they videotape, because in order to have a date, a child is not going to remember the date verbatim. Now, unless one of the children is very meticulous, that would be the only way.
I think they went back also and they looked at that footage over and over and over of those 4 kids getting in and out of that van.
Well, that's what I said. That's what I think was the start of the jump off.
And there is no lying when it comes to that.
Yeah,
There's a date and time on that.
I think that that is the jump off of when she says 1 week. That's soon. 1 week after the 911 call, the case was turned over to Bakersfield from some very crucial evidence. The first thing that came to my mind was the video that came to YouTube of them getting in and out of the van with the said 4 children. That's exactly what I...
And, remember how they said, oh, we went shopping and we went blah, blah, blah. They probably pulled surveillance from wherever they said they were. There was either surveillance.
Yeah, they probably looked around at all the stores because they probably asked them, where did you go today? Where did you go on Sunday? Because that means that I know that you were out with the kids on Sunday. So Jacqueline and Trezell already knew where this was going. Because if this use common sense, I pull you into the room and I say, what did you do today? Which is the 21st. And you tell me what you did. Then I go back and ask you, where did you go on Monday? Then I ask you, where did you go on Sunday? They already know, okay, why are they asking me about Sunday? Because that means, I know you was out running around with 4 damn kids only. Then you also got to count, what did they tell law officials about where the fucking 2 were when they probably confronted them about, hey, we got video of you all getting in and out of the van at your house with 4 only. What you think they said where those 2 boys were? Because remember the lie, oh, I left the 4 at my mom and daddy house. We kept the 2 here. Well, they're going to go, they went back and said, well, wait a minute, on Sunday, we only see 4 of the children. So where the hell were the 2 then? What was their answer?
I would pay my life savings to hear their answer.
Oh, hello, Mr. Hunter.
Hey, ladies, how you doing?
We're great, honey. Well, I'm great anyway so far. What do you have to say about the plea today? Not guilty.
They got, excuse my language, they got balls.
Yeah, they got a lot of balls.
Whole bunch of them to plead not guilty. Every finger is pointing directly at both you sorry bastards.
Yeah.
And now you're gonna plead not guilty. You gotta
remember this. But Hunter, you gotta remember one thing. This is what the detectives always say about killers. You have to think like a killer in order to catch a killer. Yep. I know you don't got them damn bodies. I'm going to fight it till the very end. I don't care who you call in here. I don't care what you show. I don't care if you make my kids testify. I know you ain't got them damn bodies. I'm going to say not guilty.
Man, whatever they got, it was strong enough to get that grand jury to bring them indictment.
Look how long it took, because this is where the DA messed up. When she slipped up and said we got information 1 week after, everybody in their right mind is going to say, well, then what the fuck took you so damn long?
Exactly.
Why are you arresting them? Really, matter of fact, damn near to the date of March. Bakersfield got the case in March. No, they got the case in what that would have been January or the end of December, but yet you didn't tell us about the case until March that Bakersfield got it. So now we have to ask ourselves, what exactly did you get as evidence that you say is so crucial, and it took a whole damn year to arrest these fuckers? And I think these people were on the run. That's why they were posting all that stuff about that van on social media, because these two had stopped talking to law officials. They quit cooperating. They ain't paid no child support, and they were on the run in that stinking ass RV. Go ahead. Say what you got to say. I'm done.
They was on the run. They was on the run because the noose was getting tight.
Yeah.
The noose was tightening up.
Yeah. So let's go here. If they were on the run, when do you think they stopped talking to law officials?
Last year.
Yeah, that had to be months ago at least.
Really?
Had to be.
Okay,
I
what about you,
think
Kentucky?
They stopped a long time ago.
Kentucky, what do you think? Hello, Ann.
Yeah, they only gave one interview that I know of.
And when
I'd
do you
say
think
it'd
they
be a
stopped
while.
cooperating, honey?
I'd say for probably last year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they knew for a period. They knew for a significant amount of time because it took forever. That didn't make no sense for them to come down. Wait this long before a week later. Come on, man. Nah. They, it's a whole bunch of stuff that's like going on or has went on that, okay, yeah, the DA and, the state, the government and, the police, everybody, they're not going to release everything that they know to the public. We all know this. But, I mean, she put her foot in her mouth. I think the district attorney opened up a can of worms and people they're going to fish.
Yeah, you know what? Just imagine, like she said, Ann said, they had to found something too when they went in that house because they took the boys out immediately.
Yeah, they took them out as soon as when they went to the house the very first day. They got them out of there that minute.
Yeah.
Man, because I was around there, like the day after he had called them, like on the 22nd of that December.
Yeah.
In 2020, me and my neighbor, because I lived like 5 minutes away from there at the time, and we went over there, and it was a bunch of neighbors and everybody outdoors, and they was questioning everything. Everybody was asking, has anybody ever seen the kids? But nobody had ever said they seen the kids over there. So, I mean, like from me and my neighbor at the time, we said it from the giddy up. We don't think they ever made it to Cal City.
Okay.
Whatever was done to them boys was done in Bakersfield, and they tried to discard the bodies.
Okay. Well, where did they discard them? Yeah. Because neighbors are saying in the commentary, if you go back at the beginning of this video, I'll play you audio from the neighbors.
When the neighbor said, when the man said the neighbor said he saw him pulling the van up at the front door and all that.
They also said, but they also said they saw him.
Yeah, they saw him lurking in the yard at night.
But there are times he was lurking around without nobody at the house.
Yeah.
Just him outside in the backyard. So where was the family then?
That I don't know. They weren't even there.
How do you really know that they didn't have that house before September?
They said, I heard somebody say he got the kid. I mean, they got the keys in September, like around the first part of September.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Is that what if we're saying they had the house way before they moved in?
Well, I mean, wouldn't that be kind of hard because the deed is
I don't know. Let me tell you something. With all the hanky-panky that I heard and found through the neighbors and the shit that was going on that street, I don't trust nothing nobody's ever said.
Oh, no. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I don't trust
could be altered anyway.
I don't even care for the woman who sold the house because there's some stuff about her to me don't add up with her and that neighbor.
Oh, I know. From the very beginning.
What are the odds that two people at different ages lived in a city in California end up on that same street?
Now, wasn't that shit crazy?
Now, that doesn't make no sense to me.
How do you even make that make sense?
It may not have nothing to do with Jacqueline and Trezell. Let me say that. But you have to admit, that is odd. That'd be just like right now, I go move to Chattanooga, and one of these neighbors ends up on the same fucking street across the street from me in a house. Not an apartment, but in a house. Just think about what I'm saying now.
It's next to impossible.
Okay, I'm just saying. Right now, I go move all my stuff to Chattanooga, and I look up my neighbor. My old neighbor from the Knoxville area has a house directly across the street from me, and we both lived in. I mean, I don't know what to say.
That would be a hell of a coincidence.
It'd be a hell of a coincidence. And that's what we thought was strange when the person was giving me all this information last year, that all these names were Googled from that street in Cal City. They were linked to people, those same names were linked to Casa Loma.
Yep. And Casa Loma is in Bakersfield, the apartment complex, right?
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What are the odds that the people that lived on that street all lived at Casa Loma at one point and lived at this other town up the road? Shit, I don't know what the other people got going on out there. It's very strange.
There's more people than we think that know about this. I mean, it's more people that know what happened than we think. Gotta be. Somebody know the whole story, and I'm dying. I think since they both got lawyers, they both got different attorneys. I think one of them gonna tell on the other one.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Now, somebody said it's a conflict of interest. Kinsley says it's a conflict of interest.
There's no conflict of interest. They both facing 2 murder charges. Yeah. So one attorney can represent them both at their arraignment or whatever.
That's what I thought too.
Well, pull up that case of that boy that shot the school up.
Yeah, that's why I use that as a reference, because I saw different lawyers. No, I asked, do they have different lawyers? That's what I asked. Sorry.
Yeah, and they said it's a conflict of interest. Maybe it's not legally a conflict of interest, and maybe it's just them advising it's a conflict of interest.
Yeah, it could be. But my thing is this. In my opinion, I would think I would want to share the same attorney with my husband or wife.
Yep.
Or maybe their stories are so far
because my defense is going to be her defense, and her defense is going to be mine.
Wait a minute, John. Say what you had to say, Kansas. Say that again.
I said maybe their stories are so far-fetched from each other that.
Well, it's probably. Let me tell you what's probably going on. All the talking, recording them talk, probably is just like what the hell's going on down here in Rogersville. Somebody has said something different than the other, and they've gone back in and asked you again, and you realize you've put your foot in your mouth. And I don't know.
So technically, it was just a plea hearing. You know what I mean? It's just a plea hearing. They entered their plea.
Yeah, but it's getting ready to start. But guess what? It's getting ready to start in May, possibly. They did say it could be put off longer since the defense is just now being involved as representation. Lord have mercy.
We're going to see. I'm going to see what all the motions and everything going to be about, because one attorney could have represented both of them and just they, you know what I'm saying, they arraignments, you know, they charges being read to them.
Yeah.
And they plea hearing. All they need is one attorney for that.
Yeah.
Somebody said something other than what the other one said.
Well, I think somebody probably talked to one, such as the wife. Her family probably told her, "You're in jail now. It's time to cut the shit and go and tell what you know."
Yep.
Because you're gonna die in there if you keep on saying you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. They got something on you and you don't know what it is. If you do know, naturally, you know you're not going to tell me. So you need to go on and tell the truth so you can save yourself and get out of there before you die in there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, because considering the fact, let me ask y'all a question. Consider this. Think about this right here. Considering the fact that, okay, the boys were abused, they were tortured, whatever, you know what I'm saying, abuse was handed down and given to them little boys, and their deaths resulting from it. Wouldn't they be capable for capital punishment?
Yes.
Wouldn't they be able to?
Depends on the evidence. The evidence is what determines.
They can upgrade it to a capital case, right?
Yeah, but it has to depend on the evidence. I don't know what the evidence will be, but the district attorney is the one that makes those decisions as far as the evidence pertaining to the death penalty.
Because if you ask me, man, you know what I'm saying, I was, you know, on the fence, you know, I was riding for them babies, man, you know, and because I lived over there. And I knew what
they probably can't do death right now because they don't have no bodies to do autopsies on the body.
And I mean that community over there, the neighbors and everybody over there, they did, and I will admit, because I was there, they did come out in droves, and they went and they scoured that entire little community over there in Cal City looking for them boys, and it was nothing but desert. I mean, all
I keep telling everybody, you don't know what he did with those kids. You don't know when he ever made it to Cal City. You really don't know how many times he was in the house without the family. You don't know nothing. We don't know if he told Jacqueline where he did with the bodies. We don't know anything. We're not gonna know until somebody starts talking and they show the evidence in court. But what's gonna be crazy is you riding the ride. You better tell something to see if they'll give your ass a plea.
Yep.
Jacqueline.
She better hope they offer her.
Well, it could be the other way. He could lie on her and say it was all her. I just dumped the bodies. He could say I was gone. I come home. They beat both the boys to death. Yeah, you just don't know who gonna say what about the other.
And to say, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, the way when they was reading the indictment and everything, they were saying they stood there, you know, in an authoritative, you know what I'm saying, stance and everything to make them, you know, they're like they barking orders, telling them kids what to do to them little boys.
Yeah.
That's what that was saying to me. You
Yeah,
know,
that is what they're saying, obviously, but I didn't take it at that at first when I was reading the information from the district attorney, because I hadn't read the indictment. I was just going by things that was said in an article, and it wasn't really worded as sophisticated as what was in the indictment. So when people started coming in the chat saying it, you need to read the indictment, I was just like, okay. I wasn't gonna repeat that on my live unless I read it myself.
My chin hit the floor. I was like, these dirt, man.
But see, but look what you've done to these children. You now got children walking around who are possible murderers now.
And they're gonna have that on their brain for the rest of their days.
Yeah.
Yep. And they're gonna have that on their mind. They're gonna carry that to their graves for the rest of their lives.
Oh,
that right there, you know, that's gonna send a kid through hell, man. The kids are gonna have all kind of trauma.
Yes. And that's hell in itself.
This is just a jacked up situation.
It is all the way around. You can't sugarcoat this nowhere at all. This cannot be sugarcoated. They can't sweep this under the rug. And for a while, I was under the impression they let it go cold because we hadn't heard nothing.
Well, obviously they had knowledge from day one, which is, like I said, it's going to be troublesome to many people that you had information damn near day one. So what we have to ask ourselves is, one, what is the evidence against Jacqueline and Trezell? Who has talked? Who are the 50 witnesses? And what do they have? And what are their relations to the victims, the children missing, the children that's left behind, and the parents? And did anybody have knowledge that they killed the kids or were abusing the kids and just kept quiet when they tell it? Week 1 or 3 months ago. See, you don't know.
I think somebody knew.
Okay.
I think somebody knew firsthand. Other than Jacqueline and Trezell.
Yeah. And that's going to be bad. That's going to be really bad. Because my thing is it possible that somebody knew that they were abusing the children and they never said anything? They waited a while.
If that's the fact, that individual needs to be held responsible too. Maybe not for the homicides or whatever, but for something else. Because you don't keep nothing like that under the hat, man. You notice some kids being abused, you open your mouth.
Yes. Kentucky Hun, I believe Jacqueline will say she was abused.
That's what my wife said. My wife said she got a feeling that's gonna be her offense.
Yeah, that's gonna be her offense. Yeah, but see, what's gonna mess her up is they're gonna say you weren't too scared because you went along with it for months into knowing they were murdered and discarded, and then you went on and called 911 along with your husband and stood in front of the news. You weren't that scared.
Yep. Man.
Then she's been on the run with him all these months.
Exactly. Right. And then you went on the run. Let's say they were on the run when they got arrested in that RV. Then you've had a whole year to say, this person's violent. I got to get the hell away from him. You really didn't have nothing to keep you with him in the first place, because really being with a person because you got kids with them, that is the stupidest reason to stay with an abuser. So now you're single and free. You can just walk out the door. Right. Hey, I'm ready to go get an ice cream cone and keep on walking.
Right.
That very first interview they gave said a whole lot to a lot of people.
I watched it again this morning. I'm telling you, man. They zoomed in on the eyes. Man,
Yeah.
it's spooky when they zoom in on their eyes. It's so creepy.
And their body language is like second to none. I
Yeah,
mean,
she's rocking the whole time, shaking her head. No, every time he was talking, she just shaking her head.
Yep.
Shaking her head. But you know what they said? You're supposed to be shaking your head, yes, when someone's talking about what allegedly happened. No, it's in conflict that you're lying about the information being relayed. But she didn't think about that. Well, you see what I'm saying?
They never once, ever, they didn't give a damn about them babies.
Yeah.
They didn't give a damn about them. They never once, ever addressed them little boys by their names.
I know.
Never did they address them babies by their names.
Well, let's go with the obvious. You never uploaded any more pictures thereafter.
Man, I don't think they had any because they was already gone.
I think they did too. Yeah, she erased everything.
Man.
But that's what people do. Erase pictures, throw away personal items, throw away toys, throw away clothes, everything. I'm done with you. You're gone. I don't need them.
Any reminder of you. Man, we are in a jacked up times, y'all.
Battle. Look, it's survival of the fittest right now, honey.
Man.
It's survival of the fittest right now.
I'm not sure, but the way I understand, the FBI can go back and like trace if something's been erased off a cell phone. They can go back and pull that digital evidence or any kind of photos.
You think you deleting some shit? You ain't deleting nothing.
But see, this is what I always say about a crime. Is that there's 50 ways to kill a person, but 100 ways to get caught. You don't plan for everything when you're planning a murder or you covering up a death.
Right.
You don't remember everything because the one thing you don't have control over are other people. You can't control what somebody's going to say. You can't control surveillance cameras. You can't control people watching you come and go. You don't have no control over those things.
Man.
And the digital world is getting advanced by the moment. So you haven't erased anything. Whether you erase somebody's text messages, it's locked down in that computer world. Computer space is what I call it.
It's somewhere in somebody's cloud.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they tell you to be careful what you post on social media. Your pictures or pictures you send other people, because it doesn't matter if you trashed it. Somebody else got a copy of the picture. Let's say you send somebody a naked picture of yourself. You don't know what they did with it and where they sent it. God forbid they lose their phone. Somebody open the phone and see the pictures. Then they share it with somebody. Now that picture is out there lost in space. You can't get it back. Very sick. Anything else, Miss Ann?
No, I'm good. I'm just.
Oh, mercy. It's very sick
It'll all come out.
Situation. Yeah.
The truth will come out when the world's on fire.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me read the indictment. I'm not going to read every count because the counts are the same for both parties.
Yep.
So hold on one second.
And this is brutal. It made me my chin hit the floor. I could not believe half what I was hearing.
Oh Lord, oh Jesus, help me. This is by Brian Wayne, Denver 7. It's so fine, I can barely see it. All right. Cynthia J. Zimmer is the district attorney, County of Kern. At the top are the people under her. The address, 1215 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Telephone number. Attorneys for the plaintiff. Superior Court of California, County of Kern, Metropolitan Division. The people of the state of California, the plaintiff. Versus Trezell West, Jacqueline West, defendants. Count 1. Penal Code Section 187, murder. On or about September 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2020, Trezell West and Jacqueline West did with malice of forethought murder Orrin West, a human being, in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, second-degree murder felony. It is further alleged that the above offense is a serious felony within the meaning of Penal Code Section 192.7C1, circumstance and aggravation. It is further alleged that the defendant, Trezell West and Jacqueline West, committed a crime that involved threat of great bodily harm or other acts disclosing a high degree of cruelty, viciousness, or callousness with the meaning of California Rules of Court 4.421A1, circumstance and aggravation. It is further that the victim, Orrin West, was particularly vulnerable within the meaning of California Rules of Court 4.421A3. Circumstance and aggravation. It is further that the defendant, Trezell West and Jacqueline West, induced others to participate in the commission of the crime or occupied a position of leadership or dominance of other participants in its commission within the meaning of California Rules of Court 4.421A4. It is further alleged that the defendant, Trezell West and Jacqueline West, took advantage of a position of trust or confidence to commit the offense within the meaning of California Rules of Court 4.421A11. Count 2, Penal Code Section 187, murder. On or about September 1, 2020 through September 30th, 2020, Trezell West and Jacqueline West did with malice of forethought murder Orson West, a human being, violation of Penal Code Section 187A, second-degree murder felony. It is further alleged that the above offense is a serious felony within the meaning of Penal Code Section 192.7C1, circumstance aggravation. It is further alleged that the defendant, Trezell West and Jacqueline West, committed a crime that involved great violence, threat of great bodily harm, or other acts of disclosing a high degree of cruelty, viciousness, callousness, within the meaning of California Rules of Court 4.421A1, circumstance and aggravation. It is further that the victim, Orson West, was particularly vulnerable within the meaning of California Rules of Court 4.421A3, circumstance and aggravation. It is further alleged that the defendant, Trezell West, Jacqueline West, induced others to participate in the commission of the crime or occupied a position of leadership or dominance of other participants in its commission within the meaning of California Rules of Court 4.421A4, circumstance aggravation. It is further alleged that the defendant, Trezell West, Jacqueline West, that the manner of the crime was carried out indicates planning, sophistication, or professionalism within the meaning of California Rules of Court 4.421A8. And it goes down again to state that they are being tried, will be tried for both counts, second-degree murder and ill intent to harm the children, plus the fifth charge, which is filing a fake police report, which is a misdemeanor. If you need verification for this information, feel free to go to Bonnie Wang's News 7 Facebook page to set information and updates. Thank you for joining me. If you want to donate to the channel, $NAGANJI, 129 Cash App. All super chats are welcome during this live. Thank you all so much for joining me. Any other comments? Hello?
The planning and professionalism, it sounds like they've got them on.
That's very sick. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The wording, that's what, but see, she worded that for a reason, to show you that it was intentional in the coercion of the others.
Right.
The teacher wanted me to go through it, so we can see how it's been going.
you know how you hear some parents, send their kids out to, have sex with adults to get money for drugs, or you'll hear adults will have some kids go out and, like, I know they call it muling around here, I think, in Kentucky, to pass drugs. So if they get caught, they're a minor. You see what I'm saying? So the charges will be less on a minor. So it makes you wonder, what is this planning and professionalism? And is that why they used maybe their two oldest boys in the commission of this act? And if they did film it, what in the world? Are they like professional sadists, or was this like a professional in planning? She's, like you said, she's worded that for a reason. There's something there, isn't there?
Well,
because
I guess what they're saying is they orchestrated and they used the children as the machines to exact the crime.
Yeah.
Right.
It was planned out. Not planned, but it was thought out. The process.
Perhaps why it's not first degree, because I didn't tell you to kill them. What I did was I used you as a tool to beat the children with legs to their deaths.
Yeah.
First degree murder means I intentionally killed you.
Right.
So the fact that they used the children, if I'm to say this correctly, then that's why it's second degree murder. Thank you, Chris, for the donation, honey. Thank you so much for the super chat. So I used you. I didn't put my hands on you, but I used somebody. So there's where the second degree murder charge comes in. I didn't put my hands on you, but I told somebody else to do it, and I was an authority figure. That's why that's mentioned in the indictment.
So they get a lesser charge because the child didn't.
Yeah, because the children
The same thing they do is
so jacked up to me.
When parents will use their children to go mule drugs or whatever because they're younger, and they'll get a lesser charge. So that's basically what that is.
Bridget, you said it, like an even sicker version of dog fighting. That's exactly what I was thinking earlier.
They're diabolical.
Right.
They're diabolical. They're some monsters, if you ask me.
Oh my God.
And I'm gonna give every bit of them. They deserve everything they get, twice as hard.
Ginger has
you gotta sign off.
Listen to this. I wonder if that's how they would cover the abuse of the boys. Like if they had marks, then they could say, "Oh, his brother did that," because I would bet anything they hurt them before that night. Yeah, they were abusing them. That's what was said in that commentary I played you with Billy Politan. The African-American guy speaking on that show was basically saying perhaps the children, the two boys, had been getting beat up a lot together in their room. That's why it was easy to send the other ones in to beat them up, and then it led to their death. You understand what I'm saying? But he still orchestrated him and Jacqueline, which is however, to keep beating the kids till they died. You had to watch. You didn't stop it.
No, he coached it. They coached it. They coached it.
But you don't know how many it was. It probably was the two oldest ones.
See, and man.
Hello, Crystal. Crystal.
And they made them do it. And I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they said something to the authorities, because
the children, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they said something. They had to, man. I'm praying to God they said something. Please say something.
Well, I think everything was said just like what they're saying in the beginning. I think the children told it. They then got the video from YouTube of them going and coming on that Sunday without the children. And then other people started flocking in, giving their 411.
Man.
Tracy said Trezell must like little boys. That's not nice.
Something wrong with this fool. Something wrong. I wouldn't be surprised, but it's going to be a whole lot of cats going to be liking him once he get where he's going.
Well, this is what I want to know. Why did they adopt and foster boys only?
Yeah, that was my question. Why only boys? They didn't, you know what I'm saying? I would think, Jacqueline would at least want a daughter.
Yeah, California has a lot of children in the state's care. You mean to tell me you didn't want to take a little girl in? Why not?
And don't give me the fact because they more expensive. That ain't got nothing to do with it. See, some was maybe he did have a fetish for little boys. Maybe he did.
Hello, Crystal.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Crystal, how
Can
you
you guys hear
doing?
me pretty good?
I can hear you. Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yep.
Static. That's static. That's static in the background. Let me call you on the phone.
Okay.
That's crazy, man. Because whatever they get, they deserve it 10 times harder.
Do you think she would take a plea or try to get a plea if they offered one?
I think if she offered to give them some information
to the children, with the whereabouts of the children,
exactly, then possibly they might offer her something.
Okay. All right, honey, give me your commentary, Miss Crystal. What do you think about the plea today, baby?
I already knew that was gonna happen.
Okay.
Bunch of cowards.
Okay.
Cowards. Of course, you're gonna say not guilty.
Yes. They don't have the bodies, so they know what they're doing. You don't got no bodies, you ain't got nothing.
And that's what it's hoping for.
Let me ask you this. Do you think the children told in the beginning, the video uploaded to YouTube is part of the evidence, but why they waited so long to arrest them?
I think they wanted to get more out of the kids, possibly.
Yeah, but you know, how long does it take to talk to a child? It don't take 12 months, 13 months to talk to a kid.
It depends how traumatized they are, you know?
But the one thing about it, they will not lie. They're not gonna lie.
Yeah.
A child ain't gonna lie. A child is gonna tell you the truth.
So that's what I'm asking. Did the children tell the truth immediately when asked? Also, did the video uploaded to YouTube help them realize possibly the children never made it to Cal City? What do you think about that, Crystal, the video? Yeah. Because you're going and coming in your house without the 6, 2 days before you reported the 2 missing. So where were the 2 at on that Sunday? This is a hell of a case.
Yeah, it is. And his mama and his brother lied about both of them seeing them boys on Thanksgiving.
That was Thanksgiving a year before.
Yeah, they didn't see him then at all. Them boys was already gone, probably.
Yeah, but see, this is what everybody's getting confused. The photographs uploaded to social media, those are photographs from a year before. That's Thanksgiving 19, not 20.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so they was trying to make people think that it was that year, but really was
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was the year before. What do you think, Crystal? Damn, this is sick, man.
It's crazy. Got me scratching my head trying to decipher through everything.
In my opinion, I think that there's going to be more arrests because I truly believe that other people know. They might not know the whole story, but they do know more than what they're telling.
And who are those? And who are those people, Crystal?
Wawa. Oh, she knows a lot more. I believe, and I believe Jamel does too. Jamel, whatever his name is. Yeah.
Sugarfoot.
Yeah, Sugarfoot. There you go. Yeah, I believe that they know more.
Hey, Jamal, who you gonna threaten now messing with your mammy? You can't sue nobody now, bro.
Can't they charge both of them with something? Him and his mammy?
No, you can't. You gotta have evidence that she knew of something. She aided him after the fact.
Everybody, his entire family knew. I guarantee. I mean, I bet the farm.
I'm gonna say it like this: at some point, when they didn't see the children or heard of the children, because I don't know what his relationship is with Wanda and how close they were. Did she keep the kids? Did he take the kids to see her? Did they visit the kids at Castelloma? So you got to prove all that. The point is, once they went and reported the children missing, it made national, local news, whatsoever.
Yeah.
At some point, you had to have thought your kids were behind the disappearance of the children. So you got to prove they had a relationship with the children September 2020 to where they could say, didn't you realize the children weren't in their possession? So you got to prove all that. When was he last around his mama? When was the last time he took all the children around his mama? Did his mama call and video chat with the children? So you're going to have to show all of that to show she ain't involved in any type of way of knowledge.
But then also, too, I was thinking, you know, as far as like holidays and things like that, like, you know, especially like Christmas, you're getting everybody toys and stuff. You know, did she, you know, get them?
That's what I'm saying. So that's what
as well.
So that's what I'm saying. You're gonna have to show all that
because she knew that they wasn't around.
But that's my point. You're gonna have to show the relationship between Trezell and his parents, phone calls, visits. Same thing, Jacqueline, her mother, and the children. You're going to have to show somebody had knowledge that the children were not around and that they knew that something was suspicious with the children not being around, didn't say anything, didn't call authorities, and participated in the cover-up of the children missing.
Yeah, didn't call to say happy birthday to them, you know, when it was their birthday, that type of, you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, I believe she knows a lot more than what she's telling. Yeah,
Somebody know a whole lot more. Somebody know every detail.
So who's the 50 witnesses, Crystal?
Huh?
The 50 witnesses that testified before the grand jury.
Man, that's a lot.
It was a total. Look, it was a total of 83.
That
is they talked to 83, but only 50 testified.
I guarantee you more than half of that 50 came from that apartment complex in Bakersfield.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. That apartment complex and possibly.
But let's talk about something. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Possibly family members. Possibly.
Okay. But the thing is, they didn't want to let nobody know because they didn't want them trying to do nothing to them. That's why they kept quiet all the time and never got on YouTube. Ain't like them dummies down here in Hickville. Everybody want to be seen and heard. But I'm gonna tell y'all something that ain't nobody. I'm gonna mention something in this chat that didn't nobody ever talk about on YouTube. The fact that you had that camera pointing towards Jacqueline and Trezell's house, you let that YouTuber take that video and put it all over fucking YouTube. You put your own life in jeopardy because they could have came and cut your throat when you least suspected it.
Yeah,
that's true.
See, that's what somebody didn't never think about. It was pivotal in showing, okay, I don't see two children. But in the end, YouTube don't live over there on that street with them two monkeys.
Right.
You don't know what that man could have done once he saw that video on YouTube. He could have lied in wait, caught you going to the Piggly Wiggly or 7-Eleven one day and blow your fucking brains out.
Just like that.
Yep.
Or wait till he see you going to the mailbox. Hey, homeboy, I want to holler at you for a second. You don't know people and you can't trust people. And you put your life and your family's life in jeopardy when you gave that video to YouTube. You didn't even think about your own safety. Because it's obvious these two are sneaky. They've been sneaky. And you don't know what they would do to you.
Snakes in the grass. Tall grass. You're right.
It's crazy. Very crazy.
They gotta be they in PC right now. They gotta be. They're not in GP. They're not on the. No, I know they've been booked in and everything, and they.
Let me bring somebody in the chat. Nobody came in and took somebody's child out their house.
No, not at all.
Nobody came and took nobody's child out their house without their knowledge. The bio mother had time to get her children back, and I don't want to dwell on that in this chat because it ain't even about that today. But nobody took her children. If that's the case, then what happened with her other two children?
They never made it home.
Yeah. So if you want to talk about the two, talk about the other two.
Man.
Nobody walking around in cloaks and daggers taking kids out their house. They had time to get their kids back. They have photos of them with the children at the DHS facility. So that means you had knowledge that your children were in foster care.
Life is about the decisions that you make.
So when you come into the Queen's house, you better come correct.
Man.
You know what I found odd about that situation there?
Thank you, Eamon. Ryan Dean is not a victim. Amen.
At all.
Kids are definitely. I found it a little odd that the dad is actually suing the county. Why isn't it?
Well, let me show you how crazy I can get.
Hurt on that paperwork. You know, that's a whole other thing. But
now chew on that. What you say, baby?
I said that you know how the dad is suing for a wrongful.
Yes. Would you like to elaborate? Queen gonna stay quiet on that because I know how they like to be in my chat infiltrating. So I'm gonna let you elaborate on that and what you think about the father suing the state for taking his children out of him and her custody.
Yeah, I don't see where he even thinks that he has a leg to stand on in that. For the simple fact is, everybody. I can't say everybody, but they were given rules, what they needed to do, yada yada yada, but they didn't do it, right? So, but my thing is, if he's suing the county, whatever, why isn't it that they're both on that paperwork to sue? You get what I'm saying?
You say it. So what are you saying? Only one's on there?
And not her too.
I don't know, because ain't that the one that wanted the children back originally?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you want to ask Ryan Dean why her name ain't on the paperwork?
Yeah, I do.
Well, ask her.
And I will answer because it's just odd to me. Why is he? Why isn't it? Why doesn't the
and she was
say
crying, and
Ryan
and then
took our children.
And then look, she was crying so hard, her eyes were swelled up, she couldn't speak.
Well, and then there was a comment earlier. I forgot who said it, but why aren't they speaking out when it's out now with what's
happening?
You know, who is guilty?
Yeah.
Of whatever they did to these boys. Why hasn't anybody came on and said? I did see one of the family members come on and say, "Oh yeah, now we know what happened, and well, we know who did it, but now we want the bodies, yada yada yada." Well, where's everybody else in this situation?
I don't know. Where are the other family members? That is fine. Interesting.
It does speak volumes because now you know that there's these two people, right, that are locked up for something. So now everybody that's involved with those kids, why isn't anyone saying how they feel about the situation? You know what I mean?
Right. You're the bio parent.
What I mean?
You're the bio parent. You were the first one to run out of breath up to the house when the story broke that the children were missing. But now, months later, shortly after that, you fell off, and then the bio father, he pops up around September. Then later we hear him suing. Now we're going into 2022, and we don't hear anything from the bio mother, grandmama, granddaddy. That is very interesting.
Nobody. Yeah, and I mean, and this is big news. You know, this is.
Well, Real Deal's asking the same thing. Where's the bio family? Well, people don't like to stir the pot because, we want to try to stay on topic pertaining to what's transpired with the West family and not try to seem mean. But it is a question that should be addressed because that was the same person that was running out of breath in the beginning pertaining to wanting the children back if they're found alive, woo, woo, woo. But what state is going to return your children to you?
Right there, too.
Yeah. Yes. Somebody says in the chat, she was crying because her conscience is bothering her. Would you like to address that, Crystal? What do you have to say about that, Ann? Do you know anything about that?
Her guilty mind is bothering her.
But you don't find it strange? You don't find it strange that the bio mother hasn't come forward to give her opinion pertaining to the arrest and now the plea?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about.
I'm talking to you. Listen, hold on, wait a minute, Crystal. I'm talking to you, Ann.
Oh.
Hello.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. Why, the father is involved in the lawsuit and she's not stepping forward or saying anything.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Everybody want to ask her, Ron D, why haven't you come forward to talk about your children still being knocked down?
But also,
and that they've been arrested. You should have to have I would think you would have some feelings by now to come to the public. I do believe somebody said you would not come forward until your children were found. Well, let's say the children are never found. Are you ever going to speak on the fact that these two have been arrested for the death of your children that you bore?
Right.
I just find it surprising that the dad actually.
Real deal. You can give your opinion in this chat. Everybody knows how I feel about the Bio family. It's no secret. I don't feel anything. I don't feel nothing. I don't have to. Like I said, I was never going to dwell on those people under the circumstances because of what has transpired. But I'm never going to sugarcoat how those kids got in foster care. I'm never going to forget the allegations, the fact that one of the legs was broke and cracked. I'm not going to forget about that. I don't care about what the shit's going on with Jacqueline and Trezell. You understand what I'm saying? We already know that something was wrong with these people. We knew that day one. We already knew they did something to those kids. That was, I don't think that was a secret what anybody's saying. But I'm not just going to sugarcoat and act like the kids were born in a pumpkin patch and Jacqueline and Trezell walked by and plucked them up and took them into their house.
Right.
Yeah.
I find it. This whole thing is just crazy. It's just crazy.
Oh my God! Look at Tracy.
And then for the dad, I'm gonna go back on that.
Okay.
For him to be trying to sue the county, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't he do that in the beginning when his kids were first?
Okay, let me ask you this.
But
hey.
Do it so fast now.
Let me ask you this, Crystal. Mm-hmm. Where the hell were you December 21st up until September, October of 21? Why weren't you speaking about your children then? Where were you then?
Yeah.
Why did the mama fall off after running up there, being seen, talking to the news? She fell off. So you only had one relative speaking on behalf of the children, which is his cousin. I find that very baffling and disturbing that a cousin would be doing all the talking for people who allegedly said they wanted their children back.
Yeah, and she's really stood up for them kids.
She has.
And
more or less.
There should be more people behind her backing her up.
Exactly.
There's not. That's
okay. Ann says BioMom does not have a Facebook page anymore. Well, I am not really disturbed by that news. Queen Phyllis is not hurt. That's one less motherfucker that didn't need a Facebook page. I see it.
Tell us how you really feel.
Ann says Trezell looks fruity. I thought about that too. I saw a picture of Trezell today in that Bakersfield.com article, and I was looking at his chest, and first thing I said was, "Damn, are them breasts? Is them breasts under your shirt?" I'm sorry, that's not nice. Somebody says she's posting stuff to Facebook. So how can she be posting stuff to the Facebook if she don't have a Facebook account? I'm not really concerned about that because, that's not my topic. But anyway, I don't feel anything for those people. It's not to be nasty. But my thing is this. Everybody wants to blame the state. They want unqualified. They did an illegal adoption. You don't have any proof to any of that. Where you should start is at the beginning of the children's lives. Had the children been properly taken care of, just like her other two children that are breathing and living that you all failed to ever talk about, we would not be having a story pertaining to these children. And my thing is coming forward a day late, dollar short, trying to sue the state and this and that. These people were not visible enough thereafter when the story broke. So that's what I look at. I start from the beginning. I don't start at the middle of a story. This is a tragic story of children who were failed from birth. They did not get the opportunity to live a happy, successful childhood, go into adulthood. They have not been afforded that opportunity. And I don't sugarcoat anything pertaining to a child's life, how they came to be and how it came to end. I put fault where it's due. Now, nobody had control over Jacqueline and Trezell's mindset. Nobody knew that these two were killers and would aid their own children to kill these babies. How would somebody know that? They didn't have criminal records, so nobody would know that they were diabolical. Just like the other people you see that make the news. Nobody knows their mindset and what they're capable of until you see signs. When you see the signs, that's when you should speak up. So if nobody spoke up on behalf of Jacqueline and Trezell's behavior and their behavior with the children, then what can you do about it? That's why we're talking about it now, because perhaps somebody did see something and they never said any damn thing. Well, it's too late now, because now we're talking about 2 dead children and 4 are now in foster care, and probably 2 out of those 4 are fucking baby killers. This is messed up.
Yes.
Because when you read the indictment, you are saying the worst of the worst. That some children killed another children by the aid of their own damn parents. It can't get no worse than then if they had killed the kids directly themselves. This is jacked up. It's jacked up. It's unreal. Now, what's to happen to the little baby killers? Seriously. Are they in a facility or are they in foster care? So see, it goes way deeper than just the death of the children. You now have some children who have taken lives. What do you do with them? Lord have mercy. And then we also have to count the other 2 who are probably close in age of the 2 missing children. What have they seen and experienced in the household with the West? This is a jacked up situation all the way around, because you now have 4 children left behind in the state's care, and we believe that possibly 2 killed 2 children, and then we have to worry about the mindset of the other 2 children, their mental state. This is fucked up. But this is what happens when you have a bunch of kids raised by some misfits, and then they have to go to the state's care. This is horrible. Tracy says their kids got one hell of a bloodline. You got that right. You damn right about that.
And all the children are over 3, so they're going to remember this. I mean,
see, that's the whole point. We don't even know if they allow all the children to watch the deaths of those kids. Can you imagine that?
Oh my gosh.
Now think about that for a second. You got maybe 1 or 2 beating the 2 up, right?
Right.
What if they made the other ones watch?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Sweet Jesus. Damn, man, this deep. This is horrible.
I'm hoping that Jacqueline takes a plea deal and tells why this is at and what happened. At least do that.
Yeah, but I don't think you really want to hear what happened, Crystal.
Yeah, that's right.
Because, once you tell the details, you can't take it back.
At least, tell where the bodies is at least that.
Oh, Tracy got a good point. She said, and told them, if you get rambunctious and out of line, this will happen to you. Lord have mercy. You got that damn right. Because who's to say that, like I said, and it's not to be disrespectful, but we don't know what went on in that house. He made them other children watch, let's say, hypothetical, and possibly told them that. Now, this is what happens when you don't mind.
That could be.
Go ahead, beat them up. And then he still watched them kill that child, 2 children to their death. And God forbid, had them other children watch. They sick, man. That motherfucker needs, both of them need their ass whooped. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Whoop to sleep.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're in PC for right now.
They're what?
Definitely.
What you saying, Chris?
They're in a cell by themselves.
I mean,
I don't think they're not. I think that as soon as they were arrested, they were automatically put in a single one-man cell. How do you see it? That's what I believe. They're already in PC.
It's just so damn ridiculous that it even came to this. Because all you had to do, if you realized the children were not minding you to the way you thought they should, you could have sent them back. That's why I'm questioning, why did they adopt them? Because in some sick way, I'm almost thinking that they really wanted the children. Because why am I going to adopt them? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get less money when you adopt them. If people want to say it's for the hustle.
Miss Queen, I've got to go. My battery's going on me.
Thank you so much, honey.
But thank you, sweetie.
You're welcome, honey. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Anything else you want to say before I check out, Crystal?
No. I'm just going to sit back and just wait and see what happens. I guess that's all we can do.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah. And didn't they put a gag order?
Yes, they have put a gag order up for the witnesses too, for the witnesses not to speak about the case to, the public and the media and amongst themselves. So you YouTubers, don't be thinking somebody getting ready to call you.
Yeah, and then
to give you a version.
Yeah, so nobody can go in the courtroom either, right? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how that's going to be. I don't know how that's going to pan out. Well, McEeman, when you are a killer, a sadist, you're not concerned about what people think. You're just doing you, and that's what's been going on with these people. They've been living a recluse life with their children, and they're sick and demented. It is what it is. This is how they've been living. It's just sadly that some children had to pay the price for being in their custody. Oh my God! So let's go here before you check out. Before we leave, do you think one of them will tell on the other one and put the blame on the other one?
I do. I think that it's gonna be Jacqueline.
Okay.
And like how you said earlier, she gonna put it on. I was mentally abused, physically abused. Yeah. She's gonna put it on real thick.
Yeah.
So because she's gonna want that sympathy, she's gonna try to pull that sympathy card.
Yeah.
Nah, it's not gonna work on this one.
Yeah. I think when I was going live yesterday and the people were coming in the chat saying the kids did it, first somebody said it, I blocked them because I thought, what a horrible thing to say. You understand what I'm saying? This is before I even got any information. But obviously, Duty Ron was talking about it on his channel. So therefore, people had watched him or whomever and got the content. So then people started falling in. And I kept saying, now, wait a minute. Okay, now it's more than one person saying this. What the hell is going on? So people were saying, Queen, you got to go read the indictment. So I did read. I finally read it today. And I was just mortified because I was saying to myself, it's bad enough this woman is saying she has evidence that they harmed the kids, killed the kids. The kids are dead, although there are no bodies. We know that they were killed 3 months before December. So I thought, where do the kids fall into all this BS? And then I read the indictment and I thought, dear God, this is insane. How in the world did it get to this?
Oh,
Lord have mercy.
Unreal.
Oh man, I'm so sick of this shit. Every waking day is something about these children. It's like all you all have to do is just keep your legs closed. The first time you realize, you don't feel right, mother and father, whatever, just bow out. That's all you have to do. Because let's be truthful, the bio donors, they bowed out in the beginning. Nobody gonna make me believe different. You understand?
Yeah.
So what's the problem now?
I should want to know, like, yeah, 50 witnesses.
Thank you, Real. Yeah, 50. But like somebody said, that's probably a combination of neighbors, people that work in stores that saw them coming in without the kids. You know, probably just a combination of all kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you what, you better not walk up. You bet. That's why I say you better not walk up in that court a family member telling some crazy shit that could have preserved their lives, because you're gonna be public enemy number one.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you already can see some of them bio folks ain't wrapped too tight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, might be out talk, I don't know. But all I'm saying is that's gonna be a bad look if we get to hearing some direct family members knew that the children were being abused and nobody said anything.
Right.
So I'm gonna ask you, do you think somebody knew that the children were being abused? Any of the children?
Yeah.
All of their children? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so.
Okay.
Like I said, and I think Wawa knows a whole lot.
Yeah. Well, Wawa got a nasty attitude. Yeah.
And I keep going over her interview that she had, and she kept on talking in past tense.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say she knows more than what she knew. What she's saying.
So what did she say that was in past tense?
She'd say, well, Trezell and Jacqueline, they were good parents. That's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
She kept talking past tense instead of saying, you know, they are good parents to their kids now. And
instead of saying you don't know them. They are good. They are good parents. You don't know them. They got great kids, blah, blah, blah. They would never hurt their kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she kept talking in past tense.
I tell you what. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's why I said I truly believe that she knows more than what she was too defensive, for one thing. That lets you know that she's going to have her sons back, you know. And I feel like he told her what happened.
I don't know, Tracy. I don't know nothing about the mother being abused with the kids at the house. I don't know anything. I can't say, sweetheart. Offense what you're saying, honey.
I just think that she knows more than what she's saying.
Mm-hmm. I think perhaps she wasn't a good parent. I think perhaps she and Phil were not great parents. And I'm not saying that the Trezell couldn't have grown up to just been a wayward person in the mind, and he could have had good parents. But I got a feeling, due to the fact of that comment she made to that girl when that girl drove by that day and it made it on social media, I think Wanda had a nasty attitude. I think she was the head honcho, the head knocker in the household. I think the husband lied in the cut, kept his mouth closed throughout raising the children. And I think whatever she said was go. I don't think she had a good relationship with her son. I think when she did have him, she was a hard nose raising him as a woman. I think she's a little rough around the edges as a mother, as a woman. I think she's that type that's very opinionated. And like I said, like a man, rule with an iron fist. That's why I think he grew up the same way, married this woman 9 times out of 10, mentally, physically abusive to her, then went and got some kids, raised them up like little army soldiers, went and got the social work hustle going on, perhaps, and then treated those boys the same.
Wow.
Tracy's got a good point. Wanda might have just kept her mouth shut. It's learned behavior. He picked it up somewhere. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking too. That Wanda is the ringleader of the nastiness in the family, and he learned those ways from Wanda. And then he found him a dummy, Jacqueline. They made children, and they mistreated their children, and she allowed it. So I fought her as well, because you stayed with him and allowed it. Just very sick.
Well, hopefully, I hope that it all ends well, and it's not another.
Well, do you think they'll find the bodies of the children?
I don't. I think they may. To be honest.
Okay. If somebody folds and tell it, because what if he didn't tell her where he put the bodies? Let's say he's the one that killed them, or orchestrated, and she watched, whatever, however it went. But he's the one that dumped the kids. he didn't have to tell her just in case he thinks she might tell on him. I'll never tell her where the bodies are, because in that way she can't never turn on me. She could say I stood and watched them. I made them kids beat them, kill them, but she don't know where I put them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, at some point you would hope somebody in there would say, I'm gonna be a little smarter. I ain't gonna tell her what I did with the bodies.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
So
may
what?
Or may not ever know where their body is at.
Right. So,
but I hope that this does not turn out to be another Casey Anthony.
So that's what I told everybody, and it's not to be negative, because I said that in my live yesterday. I know that there is really no just in every case. There will be somebody that will slip through the crack and be found not guilty. That's why I'm praying the evidence is ironclad to where there will be no fudging and no room for reasonable doubt.
Yep,
so what I want to know is the evidence.
A little bit of reasonable doubt. That's all they need.
See, that's why I want to know what is the evidence. Is it video? Because I'm thinking these people were sick enough to tape the kids beating the kids. And it's a valid point. Where was everyone when the children were put into the system? Exactly, but nobody wants to address that. I'll push that under the rug.
Yeah.
You know, it's the past. I know it's the past, but the point is, perhaps if somebody cared enough for the children, they would have never been in the state's care. And had somebody stepped up after they were placed in the state's care, we wouldn't be talking about these children. So that's a very valid point. Where were you when the children needed an adult to supervise them and take care of them? Possibly the children will be alive if somebody on either side of the family, had taken the children in. You cannot just push that under the rug, because that's really a bad look to be talking in front of a camera saying you care for some kids that you're related to, but nobody else stepped up to take the damn kids in. Come on now, two sides of a family. No grandmamas, uncles, aunts, second aunts, cousins could have taken the children in. Come on now.
And now that they've charged 2 people in their murder, you still aren't coming forward to say, I don't know, thank God, something.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. That's why I don't even think about them. I just don't give them another thought, because I stick to what is obvious. And what is obvious has been a lot of buffoonery and fake ass fraudulent shit pertaining to the children's birth, pertaining to the West family getting them, lying to the public, lying to the media and the police about what they did with those kids. And now all this new information coming out from the DA about 1 week after the 911 call, we got information that the children were already dead, but yet it took you a whole fucking year to arrest these people. What the fuck are you saying? They don't even sound good. And I want to be truthful with you. I think she should have left that out. You're going to tell the reporters, I can't tell you everything. You told us something that you probably should have kept to yourself, because now people are going to question, well, if you knew that the children were dead, why didn't you tell the public that instead of having people look for them and putting up a fucking reward? Because you know, naturally, you're going to put up the reward because you ain't got the bodies. But people are going to be sitting here telling themselves, imagine had they came forward 1 week, 2 weeks afterwards and said, we don't have the bodies, but we have information that the children died in September, August, whatever. First thing people gonna say is, well, what's the information you got? Which they already asked that anyway. What is it? Well, I can't tell you. You just have to see when we go to trial. I'm thinking maybe, like somebody said, maybe they did want the body before saying we already know they're dead. We want the bodies first. So let's keep looking to see if we get the bodies first before we let people know we already knew that they died before the parents moved to Cal City. Man, this is crazy, man.
Yeah, a whole year.
Whole year. Bakersfield got the case 1 week after the 911 call. Are you hearing this? So what is the evidence that was so ironclad for you to turn it over to Bakersfield? I'm telling you, it's got to be that video or somebody talked or both.
And then they brought up all that stuff. But they had over 70 items that they have or something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and you know that they can if it is DNA
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere, they can tell if that blood was, you know, if the person was dead.
Mm-hmm.
With that blood, just with one little stain, you know, one little drop of blood, you can tell if the person was breathing.
Really?
When that blood was dropped right there, or you know what I mean? And I think
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can tell if the person was breathing, if the person was dead from that blood. Because there's certain things that happen with your blood.
You're welcome,
as
Donna.
you're breathing. You're breathing, and then the blood comes out. It's different than if you're dead and it comes out.
Oh, wow. Well, thanks for that information.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
I mean, you know, it's morbid information. It's morbid information, but it is pivotal because we don't know what the evidence is that the district attorney has, and she's sticking to whatever she has. But what's disturbing is the fact that you've been sitting on this information for a whole year, and a few months. Matter of fact, because they told the public that the children were missing on the 21st. 1 week is just what? 7 days from the first would be the 28th of December. So you got information at least around the end of December to the first of the year. That's fucked up. And you didn't tell the public that Bakersfield had the case until March of 2020. So you've known for 2 months. 3 months damn near that the children were already dead. Let me tell you why I knew they knew something. When you go back and start looking at the old video footage from the news, why would they enter their house on the second, third search warrant with a gun? Say whoa.
Yeah. Yes, they did.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they knew. They knew something.
You were cooperating. You already cooperating with us. Remember that was said?
Mm-hmm.
They've been cooperating. So why are you drawing a gun to enter the house? To search the house again. I saw that last night. Or late this morning when I was up watching stuff. Creeped me out. I barely got any sleep because I was so creeped out. And I kept telling myself, turn this shit off because it's going to affect you. Stop watching this mess. But when I saw them go in that house and that officer had his gun drawn because they were showing the back of him, I said, something's wrong. I thought that did. Why are they drawing their guns to go in the house and the parents are cooperating? You obviously asked them and told them, hey, we got another search warrant. We're going to be entering your house. So what do you need to draw a gun for?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wish they would have told the public a little bit more. I mean, but they didn't. They wrote it out, like you said, for a whole year, though. That's...
Net detective says the children told from the get-go. I would say what happened, they just putting the case together enough to charge them, hoping to find the bodies. Yeah, but that's a long-ass time. I understand it takes a lot to get the digital back. But what I'm saying is, if somebody comes to me that was a witness in the house, it's not like hearsay. You were in the house, you're a witness, you participated. I would arrest the parents immediately and hold them on that.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to sit there and believe some children are making it up that they helped kill somebody. So I would have held them on that until I got the digital back and still been looking for the kids. They could have held them after whatever they found. That's how I feel. And their asses could have been in jail this whole time until they gathered everything they needed to take before the grand jury.
Mm-hmm.
You let these motherfuckers walk around free. Yeah, I'm pissed off about that. Because I'm telling you, her making that statement, it messes up the whole situation.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that there's going to be more arrests? What do you think?
I don't know, Kristen. I don't know what to think right now. I know she wouldn't answer that question. She told that guy, I wouldn't tell you if I knew. Oh, I'm not trying to be trite, but who are you going to arrest? The babies?
Yeah.
Who are you going to arrest? The children can't arrest them. They're kids.
Wouldn't it be like accessory to crime? Well,
yeah, but you can't arrest those kids because they're too young to even be brought up on charges. That's just too young. 10 years old. If they do arrest a 10-year-old, what you gonna do? Wait till they get 16 to charge them as an adult? This is jacked up.
And if it was made to do that, then
right. So what they can do is They could just say he's not culpable because he was too young. He just did what his parents told him. But we could put him in a treatment facility till he get to a certain age, make sure his mind is right.
Mm-hmm. Can you imagine now the aftermath of all of that?
That's what I'm saying. That's what's so horrible. That's what I'm saying. What those children think every day, how they react to things, how they cope with things, we will never know. Where are they exactly? What homes are they in? God forbid they end up in some homes worse than where the fuck they just came from. That's the reason why these boys are dead. They were jacked up where they were. And then they go live with these people. Then these people adopt them. Now they're missing, and now we know they're dead. So all this time, people searching for them. They've been dead the whole damn time. Does that make any sense?
That's crazy. Can't make this shit up, boy.
Yeah, I forgot about the other kids, Wanda's other sons. Yeah, what do they know? Great point, ACY. Mm-hmm. What do the brothers know? Oh Lord, I'm just over this. I'm just like, this was news when she said this is not what we wanted to bring. Yeah, you got that right. This is some horrible news you bringing. Because you can't explain logically 1 year. I was floored when I read that. I said, I'm gonna make sure I got that right, because people, when I repeat that, they're not gonna believe what I just said. Because you know how people like to argue stuff. Where'd you get that from? Like Wanda, your mama. That's where I got it from. Not to be nasty, but you understand what I'm saying. I'm reading it from an article. I have no reason to make up nothing pertaining to this case or any case I discuss. I bring you a source. You want to argue this information, you call them and you argue with them. I have nothing to do with what they report in an article or a news clip. It has nothing to do with the Queen. I just bring you the information. I really would like to know what Mr. Watkins knows. Well, whatever he knows, I bet you he'll be quiet. I bet you he won't set up no Patreon account to talk about it.
And they both were denied bail, right? Yeah.
Oh, they know not to give him bail.
Yeah, because they was already trying to run.
Well, guess what? You know what you did. You should have been gone out the state of California. You should have been gone. They were 17 miles out. You ain't went nowhere. And then you're going to ride in something that's big and conspicuous. Y'all should have been in a little bitty Hyundai.
Yeah, rolling around in an RV.
Barbara says the son with the NAACP should be made to step down or fired. Interesting. What do you think about that comment?
Yeah.
But you got to prove he had knowledge, so you can't just fire him. You got to, once again, it's the same as investigating these people. You got to prove he had knowledge that something was hanky-panky without, he knew that the children were missing at the time of the investigation. You got to prove he knew that the children were not around. See, that's going to be the problem. You got to prove these people knew they didn't have those boys. And we're in the age of video chatting, so I don't know how the state is going to try to show these parties knew the children weren't around, but they can easily say that about Wanda and Phil because you live in the state of California alongside the son, and you were in the same city. Versus Mr. Watkins, he was all the way across the country.
Right.
But you still have video chat.
Yeah.
Net detective says they bought a house, then go off in an RV. Where they get all the money? RV paid for? Very good question. And what's happening with the house? That's another question. See, this live could go on for 7 hours. It's the truth.
Yeah, because where'd they get the money and where they gonna get the money for?
Somebody said, didn't Mr. Watkins lie and say he saw the boys on 12/19, but they were killed in September? I can't remember. 12/19 may mean 12/19/19. 2019, not 2020. See, I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a year or so. I think they were trying to show people that the kids were alive in 20, but I think that photograph is from the holidays 2019, not 2020. So that's what threw people off.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody says the house payments are up to date. Well, Stephanie, you must have been in them folks' dresser drawers. So think about that. The payments are up to date. What are you doing for the money to pay the house note? Or did they buy it outright? You still have to pay the bank, though. Because they didn't have the money, remember? So you didn't buy it outright. You went through the bank and got it. So you still will be paying notes on the house. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how are you making the house notes? Well, just $2,000 a month income. That's what the news said. I'll wait on your response. I'm leaning back on that one.
Maybe Wanda helping them out.
Wanda don't got a nice looking house of damn self. She got some money to pay for some. Hey, look, how you gonna pay for my house and your house looks shitty? Shit. I mean, come on, let's keep it real. Now you got some crazy people that'll do that. They got good credit. They too cheap to go buy themselves a nice little Nissan or Toyota or Lexus, but they'll go put up their credit for somebody else to go get a nice car and co-sign for a car. I wish the hell I would put my credit up and if I had good credit and go pay for you a nice car, house to live in, and my house look like old dump ass trailer. Oh, girl, child, bye. I ain't never. Okay, Ann Clark says, I think that when Wanda said you got it right, but you got it wrong, she was saying the kids were deceased, but Trezell didn't do it. Well, it's not going to even matter because they got evidence that says they did. That's why his name is on the indictment.
Mm-hmm. And she said, you got it wrong, but you got it right. But you got it wrong.
But I think, you know what I think is so funny? Is that it's been a few of you all coming in since yesterday talking about that comment from Wanda. So what did that bubble-eyed fool mean?
We got it right, but we got it wrong.
Well, what did we get wrong? Only thing that we would have got wrong is that the kids beat the children to death.
Yes, yeah.
But your stinking ass son and daughter-in-law orchestrated. So what's your point, Wanda?
And just with that lets you know she knew what happened.
Mm-hmm. And you right.
Yep.
Woo, see, didn't I tell you about that talking over that fence? She leaning on the fence. Y'all filming me. Y'all calling my phone. I ain't call y'all phone. I was dying. I was thinking, this, you know, all that shit pertaining to Cal City with them YouTubers on the ground. It's just like the mess that's happening right here in East Tennessee when they come down here fooling with them, standing by the driveway trying to talk to the whales. That shit is identical to what went on with the Trezell, Jacqueline, Kusalama. It's all the same. It's all the same. Just a black versus white.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. YouTubers wanting to be seen and get clout off of, and it's like, in the end, guess what? You still don't know where the bodies are.
Mm-hmm.
Chasing around, running through ponds and parks and shit. Just doing crazy, outlandish shit. Same thing like down here. Standing and hollering and moaning. You ain't found that little white girl's body. It's just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie says Trezell was selling beats or something. I'm dead.
Yeah, I believe though. I believe she knew. She knows more than what she said.
Well, she probably does.
Because just that comment,
yeah,
you got it wrong, but you got it right.
But guess what?
You got it wrong.
You still got to pay taxes. You still got to pay taxes on that little dust bucket. So. Well, and we don't know if Jacqueline knows where the bodies are. He may not have told her, just so he would have, some type of control over the situation. But she has to know that the children are dead because she stood there and lied to the news. So she does know. She knows the children are gone. She's the one that allegedly signed for the children and all that. So she knows that they are not alive. That's one thing that she's not going to be able to talk her way out. And the fact that her name is on. Sure. Yeah. So the fact that her name's on the indictment means they've got, once again, proof of both aiding the children to kill the children. It's just the dumping of the bodies is a whole nother subject. Does she know where the bodies are? Because he didn't have to tell her. because only a fool would tell her. Let's keep it real. I may have told you what I did with the boys or lied about that if she didn't watch or she wasn't present. But I would be a fool to tell her where I dumped the kids. I'd be a fool to tell her that because I know she could take that and use against me. And that's the one thing I know that the state wants is the bodies.
Yeah. Oh, but then think about what she said. They're going to be around here somewhere. That's what she said.
And that was creepy. Was that not creepy?
Yeah.
Jesus. That's what I'm saying. Just everything about these people. You know what's scary about these kind of people? They're walking by you every day, eating at McDonald's, working with you at work, going to the schoolhouse, all of the above. And you don't know the people you're bumping to at Walmart, holding a light conversation. They're beating their kids, abusing their kids, raping their kids, or assaulting other people's children. Think about all the times they were out with those 4 kids and people were walking by. Oh, he's so cute. He's so cute. They don't know. Yeah, they had 2 other ones, but they dead. That's deep.
It is. The person next to sitting in the
Oh,
car
you
next
got,
to you.
oh, your boys are so beautiful. Oh, they're so handsome. And all along, you talking to some kids that's killed the kids. Other kids probably witnessed them kill the kids. You know they killed the kids, and you also know you buried the kids. Girl, there is no word for this type of madness right here. This is taking murder, abuse, and neglect to a whole other level.
Another level.
It's a whole other level. Indeed. You can't make this shit up. This will be a documentary told over and over of how sinister a parent can be. And we do have a case here in Tennessee that happened a few years ago where 2 children were adopted with some other kids, I believe, in a family, and they were buried on separate properties belonging to the family, the adoptive family. I believe it was a boy and a girl, and they did dig up the properties and find the children buried. One was in Roane County, and the other child was found here in Knox County at their older son's house, and they did arrest him as well for murder alongside his parents, and also TennCare fraud, which is, that's when you get aid and medical for the children through the state. A deal is made to find the bodies. Is whoever talks first. Yes. But it may have a stipulation. Because you got to remember, it's going to also depend on whatever evidence the state has against the 2. So if the evidence shows that she was complicit, I don't know. They may want to give her a plea. They may not. It's up to the district attorney to decide if they want to offer her a plea or whomever a plea to say, tell us where the bodies are, and maybe we will just give you 35, 40 something years, because you're still talking about 30 years for the murder and at least 15 for the second charge, which is the abuse, the willful intent. So that's still about 45 years off the top, plus whatever years they want to tack on for calling 911. So she's already 32 years old. She'd be 70 something years old plus getting out off the top.
That's great. Oh my God.
Yeah. But she chose that because she saw the signs that this man is sick. And perhaps she's sick too. I'm not going to put it all off on Trezell. I think she's sick as well, because at some point you were a party to all this bullshit. You sat up and lied to the news in that interview about the children, nodding like a damn dodo bird. So to me, you're no different than Trezell. And I'm not going to sit here and believe that she felt threatened for her life, because like they said, you were seen in an RV or by the RV with him when you were arrested. So that means you rode the ride all the way to the very end.
Yep.
It's just sick.
Even tried to play it off. Oh my God.
Ned says they could have been disposed in a dumpster. Well, they could have. That's the thing. We don't know where they are. We don't know where they are. Okay, Barbara says, I don't think the DA will give her a plea or him. May not. That's what I said. I can't say. Like I said, with the evidence that's been brought forward, in indictment rather, depending on what they have against the two, it may show that she rode the ride all the way into the crime. So it will be up to the DA if they want to say, okay, yes, she participated in the murders, but maybe he or she'll take a plea if we can get the bodies. I'll go on and let some of the time off just to get the bodies. But then they could say, I don't care. Bodies or no bodies, I ain't offering no plea. It's up to the DA. Well, I'm going to head out of here, Sugarfoot.
Okay, love you, Queen.
I love you too. That's my mod, Crystal. Thank you. Yes, thank you for coming and bringing your commentary. I appreciate it. Thank you for thank you for keeping it honest, because I know how you will do. You don't look. You a little fighter your damn self. Look, all of 5 feet tall, want to throw a hammer, throw a brick. I said, damn. She got a lot of spunk to be so little. I thank you, baby. I love you to death. All right. Okay, see you later, baby. Bye-bye. Bye. All right, everybody. That's my mod. Prayers that justice will be served in this case. That the children will be found. As I said, I don't know all the evidence that they have against the two. I'm betting that it's video footage, surveillance footage of them coming and going without the children. Perhaps they videotape the crime. The children have talked, implicating themselves, alongside instructions from the parents. The 50 witnesses that were testified, probably a random of people in the apartment complex, people out in the community, video surveillance, as I said, of them coming and going in the community without the children. Possibly people who knew that the children were being abused, witnessed abuse, neglect. I'm not sure, but I'm sure it's an array of different things. But as the DA said, we will find all that out when they have trial. This is a very wicked case, because it is one thing to be callous and cruel to abuse children, but to have your other children harm kids to death, there are no words for that behavior. Because anytime you implicate your children into crimes, you are definitely worst of the worst. Because as I said, it's one thing to be heinous enough to kill the kids on your own, or aid a relative, friend, wife, husband, whichsoever. But when you involve your children, you have gone to the bottom of the barrel. You are a bottom feeder, most definitely, to the highest power. I want to thank you all for following the content. This has been a very long live, but thank you so much for following the content. When I get an update to the other stories, Ukraine, Breonna Williams, she has pled guilty into murdering her child down in Florida. The child was found in Alabama, but the case is taking place in Florida. You can go to my community board to get the said video pertaining to her trial and her guilty plea. My community board is open for any information and updates to also this story of the boys and Trezell and Jacqueline West. Thank you so much for following me. If you want to donate to the channel, $BeGanji129 Cash App. Thank you all so much. God bless all of you. This has been a very interesting live with some very sick information. And we can only hope and pray for the said children left behind, that they get adequate mental care and love and understanding, because perhaps these children could also become difficult individuals on their journey, because we don't know everything that went on in the household with their family. But as I said, it's possible that all that will come out during the trial. And I will be frank with you all. I'm very leery of the information that is going to be revealed during this trial, because I can't even imagine where it's going to go. And that's the scary part, is where this trial will lead to. And all the participants and people who probably had knowledge of these people walking around without the two, and also abusing the said children in the household. Prayers for the remaining children. Justice for the boys. Thank you so very much for following the content. New subs, old subs, chat, visitors. Thank you so much. This is Everyday Shenanigans.